All right. Let's make sure everything is good to go. Then we can get firing up, my guys. Let's make sure everything's good to go. Then we can get moving. Let's make sure everything is good to go. Then we can. Yeah, it's not looking like it's gonna be the usual bangerang today. It's gonna be a couple of us. That's fine though.
Yeah, I'm down to shoot the shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're in upset alert right now with Arizona and Houston.
Oh shit. Wildcats cooked?
Mm.
I got a I got a coworker who's an Arizona fan, so I'm gonna shit on him if you know.
I think Houston about to lose. Man. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Let's go to these topics and see what we got written up for today. College basketball, something that you wanted to discuss.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go through a couple of these bad boys. So we got Arizona down 2 right now to Houston. Tennessee beat Auburn earlier. Florida beat Bama earlier. That Florida game was a wax. Wisconsin, Michigan State, Michigan, Maryland. Then we got Duke playing in about 30 minutes. Any takes?
No, dude, Duke is fucked.
Without Cooper Flag?
No booper flag.
You had a chance to watch the Alabama Florida game?
What time is that game?
Yeah, that happened earlier today.
Oh shit, I did not watch it. No, I missed
Yeah,
it.
Florida beat them by 20. Alabama shot really bad. What you DoorDash?
I got Chipotle.
Bro, we had that earlier today too, man.
No, no, no. It was the first. It was the first one.
No, I'm saying me and my wife had that earlier today too.
Oh, nice, nice.
You watched the Nuggets play the Lakers yesterday.
Yeah. I saw some of it. I fell asleep, but I tried.
So you didn't see Jamal Murray Big Bang?
No, dude. I missed it.
I was told that Bronny was gonna score 10. That Lakers gonna AR for 40.
Yeah, that's 40.
Um,
37 and 40. Well, I guess in a close game like that, no, because 40 would have basically tied the game besides that rest thing. So, yeah, 37. But you know what I meant. I said AR 40 ball. He still gave me 37. Brian, he disappointed. He missed his next 2 shots. We'll take 5 points.
It sounds like you counted your eggs before they hatched because you were celebrating 10 points in the second quarter.
Yeah, look, I was happy for him. I had seen it. I thought he seen the shot go in. That's all he needed. But shit, this against Denver. I feel like he was still kind of nervous out there. But like I say, the Bronny that's playing right now on the when he get in the NBA is not the same in the G League, and of course it's different. But like you can just tell confident wise because he's also a slasher driver in the G League. He don't ever even attempt that, which I understand that probably not his role on the team because of Reeves is more of a ball handler when they in. But he'll even attempt it. All he does is try to attempt, threes real quick. So I feel like this is a confident thing. But he should. I mean, he wet the bed last night again when I predicted 10. So no excuse. No excuse. It's Bronny. But I know he's gonna be all right. I know Bronny gonna be all right. I'm not saying he's gonna be great. I'm not saying he's gonna be this. I just know Bronny gonna be good. A good role player. That's always his ceiling for me. I always say he would be a role player. A good one. There's nothing wrong with being a Derek White. There's nothing wrong with being a. I'm not gonna say he'll be Drew Holiday. That's a little bit too much. But there's nothing wrong. But he could be. You know what I'm saying? That's nothing like just like out the bag. Like Drew Holiday. No, that's a dude who know how to play his role. Stepped his defense up tremendously throughout his career. He never was bad defensively, but he turned into the defender we know today, and became a more consistent outside shooter. And he was athletic.
So Bronny's ceiling is like a Pelicans Drew Holiday.
Yeah, I mean, like a Pelicans Drew Holiday, Celtics Derek White, a better Marcus Smart, but like offensively, not defensively. Well, let's just say more well-rounded Marcus Smart. Guys like that can be big role players on a championship team. I don't never see him developing into being that guy. He's a 55th pick. I don't never think that was his ceiling. Just because his name is James Jr. I definitely see. If you watching him for real, because I like to tune into the G League just to see if he even got potential at the beginning of the year. And you definitely could see him with the athleticism, the way he sees the floor and everything like that, being at least basically a glorified role player. Because of course, just because the name, he's gonna get a little bit more love than he should once buckets start going in and things start going his way. He's definitely gonna get more love than he should. But he's definitely gonna be. I still been a glorified role player for sure. For sure.
I don't think he has a shooting potential to be a Derek White type of player.
You forget Derek White was not always that good at or consistent at outside shooting as he is now. So, and Derek White, I think Derek White didn't come into the league until he was like 23, 24. Brian's 20. Give him those 4 years. And then, you know what I'm saying? You got to give him those type of 4 years, but at the same time, we'll see because it's not easy being a Derek White. If it was that easy, like I'm saying it is, everybody would be Derek White at least.
You don't see it as maybe like a Rondo kind of player?
And definitely that, even that, like I say,
Rondo, bro.
Look, I don't know if he can be able to pass the ball. It's pretty and beautiful like Rondo, of course, but sending the floor, yes, just because one, you learned the game from an NBA player, and then two, he's demonstrated y'all when he's in the control of the ball and playing against NBA talents and stuff like that. And G League, even on his little spurts and stuff in the game, he is a playmaker as far as being able to distribute the ball to open players, and he's athletic. You know what I'm saying? So I can do like even Rondo. I can see him being a Rondo because, like I said, he's not. They lie and say he's 6'3". Bronny is no taller than me, but the dude is athletic. Got a nice frame to him that he can develop. He's still 20. You know what I'm saying? So give it time. But shoot, I said 10 points. He didn't get them 10, so he wet the bed. No excuse. He had no excuse. This was a game that if like I say, and I'm all right with him getting the chance because his dad is LeBron James. White people got to do it all the time, so I don't really care. So he's gonna get extra chances. But this was a game where if you were a dude who was like in the NBA on your own, off your own footing, completely on your own footing, this would have been a game where you got nothing but opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I felt like it was for him. This was a game of opportunity, LeBron. But sorry, you wasn't ready for that opportunity. But like I say, I'm glad that we get to do a little bit of stuff like they get to do, and you get extra chances because who your parents is. But yeah, like I said, if this was like me, you, any of those guys, and we was doing it off our own footing, this definitely would have been a missed opportunity for him.
Yeah, I agree. Maddie, what's going on? I guess we could start our introductions. What's going on? I am
Here's
your
Matt.
host, Great Tate. Right here to my left, we have Cam Pickups, and Mr. Cam. We're just gonna read off the list and let it ride. Mr. Cam, 21 years football experience, pro, Canadian League, D1 level. 13, business owner, truck company of Cam Pickups. Woo, woo, woo. Devoted father. We got Ish below him, who is an engineer by profession, diehard Denver sports fan. Owns way too many tapes of old Elway games, casual baseball card collector, and a beer league player. Then we got Mr. Ice to the right of him. Matthew is a current head coach for football in Texas high school, and he is a savant of basketball and football in all sections, a diehard in the most of Dallas ways, and dabbles a little bit in baseball as well. Right.
And just a correction, just to make sure any of our viewers know, I am not a head coach. I'm just a football coach.
Current coach in high school.
Head coach
of
soon.
football. Right.
Watch one of the other coaches see that. I'm like, how to explain that one? I'm not.
Yeah. So we got a couple things to dibble dabble on. Let's start with the easy one. In about 15 minutes, Duke is gonna play. Looking at the Duke game from North Carolina yesterday or 2 days ago, North Carolina lost that game. Duke didn't win that game. What does it mean for Cooper Flag? What does it mean for Duke without Cooper being playing right now? Does it rise his stock, showing how solid Duke is, or Duke winning, Duke possibly dominating today? What's it do for Cooper Flag's stock?
I guess I'll pop it off then. I think right now, Cooper Flag's stock is already locked in, kind of at this point. Just being one of those guys that's already locked in, man. We've seen enough. As far as Duke, from what I've seen, I don't know if Duke can finish. I don't know. They might can finish this tournament, but going into the March Madness tournament, is Cooper Flag is not 100% from that weird ankle roll the other night. I don't see Duke doing it. And you're like, what? How is he saying this? They got 2-3 other dudes that are supposed to be top guys in the draft. How is he? But sometimes when a player is different, he's different. And that's the meaning of being different. And Cooper Flag is a guy who reminds me of somebody, I'm not going to say, but like, who basically is the glue to all the pieces. He does the scoring. Cooper Flag also draws the defenders, like a Curry, even though he's not shooting threes. He draws defenders off. That's like we call gravity. So these other guys get opportunities to get open shots. He still makes the plays on the stat book if you want to be a box score for one. And as far as assists, he's the rebounder as well, being a 6'9", 6'8" guy. So he's just the definition of different. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't see them being able to survive the March Madness tournament. And in the last 6-7 years, we've seen that the talent level of everybody is now starting to get equal.
Matt?
And you got to play a lot of games.
So I agree with Cam on the aspect of Cooper Flag. His stock is already there. It's not like a question where how far he's going to drop. Kind of for me, they're of course obviously different players, but it kind of reminds me of like Kyrie when he was with Duke and everything, and Kyrie was only played like 5-6 games of the season, and then he was still number 1 overall pick. It was just he was translucent. Like no one doubted his skill. So I think Cooper Flag is in that category. Although I will say that the other people in this draft are keep it pretty close. I will say that.
Yeah.
It really shows that if someone could argue to be number 1 overall, and it can make a team actually think. Like of course we got Ace Bailey. He's one of my personal favorites just with how his athleticism is, and especially how well he can play defense and everything. Like as he has NBA ready as Cooper Flag, that could be debatable. But no one's questioning Cooper Flag's stock right now. But the number 2, number 3 spot, that could be very interesting for a potential number 1, depending on how far they go in the tournament.
Yeah. Ish?
Yeah, I think, excuse me. I think as a number 1 pick, he's locked in. I completely agree. I think Ace Bailey is like one of those one-of-one type of players. I think he has the body, he has the ball skills, jump shots getting there. The top of the draft is heavy, so the only thing I could see slipping for Flag is if Duke plays well in the tournament and he's out for a sustained amount of time, and Edgecombe or someone just goes horrible crazy style in the tournament, getting 30 a night for 5 games in a row. Then maybe, like how John Morant kind of jumped up to 2 in the draft just because, insane tournament run. Then sure, but I think it'll prove more about that the Duke pipeline is still there post Coach K. Because I personally have had doubts about that. Obviously, they just put some guy in there. He looks like he's 25 years old. But I think the key here is I think it means more for the program going forward that it's not just hey, we managed to go get Cooper Flag, who's great and all, but like we can still get it done without number 1 prospect in the country. We can still recruit on the margins of these 5 stars and put together good rosters that are well coached.
Yeah, so I agree. I think that I think Cooper Flag being the number 1 isn't because he's some transcendent, in my opinion. He's not some transcendent star that's going to come in and LeBron will be the league. I don't think that. But looking at the current talent around him in terms of the drafts, I think it's clear cut that he's pretty locked in right there. I really like Ace Bailey, but I think looking at the teams, New Orleans, Utah, 76ers, even Wizards, Charlotte, Coop fits on every one of those teams. Yeah. Or Ace Bailey, you know what I mean? Or someone of that caliber, it's got to be the right fit. So I think Coop is a 99.99 lock for number 1. But I wouldn't be surprised if he came into the league and kind of like, if it wasn't propaganda, I wouldn't be surprised if he was like, kind of mellowed out for a little while, maybe a year or 2. And then it was like, oh, he did go number 1. Yeah. Kind of like the last draft for Atlanta. No one talks about him. Right.
But should say.
Right. But he does a great job doing his role on the team. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. That I guess that can be our second conversation in 1 second. First, I want to say this. From now on, every single take for the rest of the episode is going to be 30-second Saturday. So, I'm going to mention the topic, maybe have a sentence or 2, and then I'm going to randomly grab a guy, and then boom, 30 seconds is on the clock. All I'm gonna do is say the next person's name, and from there, you stop. The next person starts. After we finish, we're gonna have open dialogue for 2 minutes where you can argue with each other, agree with each other, X, Y, and Z. Got it?
Got it.
Cool. So, 30-second Saturdays. Topic number 1, episode 5. Topic number 2. Speaking of college ball. Now we're looking around. We're looking at players like Cooper Flag, who probably will get a decent amount of money in terms of going to the league. But there's quite a bit of players in the league that probably could have done better staying in college one more year. Looking around at everything that's going on, what do you feel like players like Cooper that would stay one more year, not for the money, but to avoid getting drafted by a certain team?
I've heard this theory.
Go Ish.
And I think, there's a case that I've like, oh, you don't want to play for Charlotte or Washington or some shitter team. But I think the truly competitive guys, they want to play against the best competition. And they want to go to the league and see what they can do. Like, if a guy's worth his shit as a number one guy who's going to come transformative franchise guy, he needs to have the attitude that he can come and save you. If he's like, I'll wait to maybe see if Philly gets lucky with the draft or this and that, then I start to have questions about his mental fortitude.
Matt?
So when it comes to about people sitting out for the draft for another year of college, especially with NIL, does make it very interesting. However, you see, as a typical natural sports fan, it's something that annoys you because you want them to go to the next level. You want them to go ahead and see what they can do for a pro team. However, something I kind of realized is not most of the time, but there are some of the times, if you look in history of people sitting out or demanding not to be part of a team, that it's usually an athlete's son who is a former professional athlete's kid. So they have more knowledge of the team.
Cam?
Yeah. Margo? I don't see nothing wrong with that. I guess, just because, like, going to a franchise like Charlotte or something like that is terrible. But I agree with Ish, and just if you're one of those guys and feel like you're that guy, you're going to want to play against the highest competition. And I'm not going to lie, the NIL money's good, but money talks. The NBA contract's different, especially if you're basically a lot for 1 or 2 with him and Bailey. So I definitely say Cooper might consider or think he's going to do it, but when that check.
Time. So, my 30 seconds. 2 people, perfect examples of both ways. Grayson Allen, me, the other Grayson Allen, and Haley. So, look at Haley when she was at Louisville. They have a limit on when they can get drafted to the NBA, and she had bad stock. LSU, her stock dropped to LSU, then rose back up when she went to TCU instead of getting drafted. The importance of playing at a time is when you get drafted higher to get more money when getting drafted. That's the only reason why you'll do that. Time. Woo! So, 2 minutes on the clock, and open it back up. Matt, you can start. Finish what you're saying.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, if you look at the history of, like, Eli Manning as an example, refusing to play for the Chargers. Obviously, if they had another year of college football, they probably would have stayed one more year. But, what was I going to say with this? Sorry. But his father, of course, Archie Manning, probably knows the franchise, knows the ownership, knows the location, how everything works. So there's that to that level. You heard about Shedeur Sanders potentially sitting out. So I'm just saying you kind of see a theme with athletes, former professional athletes' kids.
And I feel that. And then you also got situations and stuff too. Like with the Haley situation, that he used the example. Like I say, her stock was high when she's at Louisville. I feel like some players got to know the system and everything besides just going to go win a natty. Which of course the girls think is different because they can't leave until after year 3. But they all end up staying anyway just to get a degree because of the the pay for the WNBA. Haley was great at Louisville. She jumped wagon to go to a dominant LSU team, and she's a ball-dominant player and needs that ball dominance to thrive, which is nothing wrong with that. That's not saying being a ball hog, it's being ball-dominant to thrive. and she was not. I mean, like she was the third best player on LSU. Why would I let you be the most ball dominant person on this team? And it kind of made her look like she was lesser than she really was. And there's no knock to her because she was around some dogs. You know, they won.
Yeah, so to piggyback what you're saying is the system matters and where you're going. And if you're transferring instead of going to the draft, you're transferring, or another head coach and other players are coming to help you, it's not that bad to stay in college. But if you were averaging 30 and 10 and you're peaking right now, it might as well time to go to the NBA. Because the NBA go ahead.
Argument versus like the money teams argument are two different cases.
Yeah.
Like, I think for Flag, it would strictly be does he want to play in Charlotte or Utah?
Yep.
Right. For him, it's not an issue if he needs another year in the lab at Duke. Like, we could stick him in the league yesterday.
Yep. So, topic number 2. Speaking of college, what do y'all think about players 22, 21? Look at Connect right? Dalton Connect. He's an older, more seasoned hooper, but he's coming into the league and he's better than most of the top guys coming out. What do y'all think about, the NBA having this like spectrum that players need to be 19, 20 going into the league and being penalized, drafting being later? The NFL has the same issue too, but I feel like it's a little bit different. So let's stick with NBA. If you want to pull examples from another place, you can, but let's stick with NBA. Okay. Cam, go.
That's perfect. Just because this was kind of something we had touched and nodded in the group chat when I was saying like, that's 28 years ago. So yeah, with the Dalton Connect situation, you do have some of those guys that are older in this draft that stay longer than the 18 and 19-year-olds that get penalized for that. Just because, like I say, this was not a thing that always occurred. So after the Kobe's and what's the name, then you go to Melos, who went one and done. But the Kobe's straight out of high school, you go to Melos, to one and done. You get upset to where you feel like you're a number one or you're a franchise guy.
Time.
Ish. Yeah, I think for me a big part of that comes down to almost like the body type of if you got like a guy with Giannis's frame, you roll the dice drafting at 19 with a high pick, and like if he can develop the ball skills, great. I think the guys who are more seasoning end up being the guys who are like more average, relative to the NBA, obviously not relative to us, but like average NBA body types. But then they come in as like ready to go role players. So they don't necessarily maybe have like the insane jump shot or like the generational wingspan and jumping. But yeah.
I think overall, when it comes to like just the age difference between these athletes, it's just the basis of potential. That's what the big thing about the GMs look at is like, what can this guy not just be for us right now, and how can he help us right now, but what can he be for us in the next 2 to 4 years? Can he improve, become an all-star, or there's a high risk, high reward? It's kind of like the casino in a way. While some of the older players are more consistent, you kind of know who they are. You see that with the Connects, the Kyle Kuzmas, the JJ Redicks. While when they came out of college, you know their ceiling.
So good points, everyone. I would like to say prove that there are two ways this can work. Sorry teams draft high for a savior, right? Sorry teams never draft high for a role player. Where do all those role players land? On good teams at the bottom of the first round. So it's like sometimes it's okay to go another year in college and go get a chip second year going into the league. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a win-win really. But drafting high players at such an older age, I think that's not a problem too if you want to do that as well, But Philadelphia, drafting a higher player wouldn't be a problem.
Hey, we drafted Gary Harris in the lottery. He just ended up being a role player.
2 minutes, 3, 2, 1. Ish?
Yeah. And,
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because I forgot that we was for 30 seconds, so I really was just blabbing on my take. But I get what y'all saying. So just like you're saying, there's nothing wrong with being a older guy going late, just because you're still a rookie when you go in the league, and these guys are still older than you. It's just the fact that you get a championship for one, or a chance to be a contender. You get probably knowledge and game from the best players that's in the NBA if you're going to these later teams. So you are more likely to succeed just because you're not less talented than these dudes that's going first round. They're younger than you and as talented as you. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing about that, I feel like. So it's not bad going late. We tapped on Zach Edey, being a 4-year, 5-year guy. And I was saying he was in the lottery pick, which I guess top 15 is lottery. But like I say, Zach Edey ended up being on a kind of sort of a contender team. And he got a nice role, you know what I'm saying? And it looked like he could play that role for 8 years.
I mean, I absolutely agree. And like when I was mentioning about the GMs and everything, that doesn't affect anything about the rookies themselves, the athletes. Because again, we hear how many cases of people who go second round or even the late first round of the NBA draft be very successful and sometimes the best players in the whole draft. And
I
we
think
look at
sometimes
them
too, that those second round picks or super late first round guys, they'll treat him as a gamble. So a guy who didn't pop off in his first 2 years of college, but like maybe he looked good at the end. You say, okay, he spent a year in the lab. We'll roll the dice. Maybe he's a good role player. Maybe he's Jokic. Maybe he's nothing. It costs us what, like fundamentally minimum contracts worth of salary, right? Like a roster spot's the biggest cost here. Let's give it a spin.
Like
Matt, last take.
Shannon Jr.
I'll go ahead. So, but yeah, just you look at like someone like Draymond Green as an example. Spent a few years at Michigan State, and he still had to develop. He wasn't just right off like, okay, I'm the defensive player of the year. He's someone who can still develop, but he went to a good team who was able to help coach him up to be like that. He had some people who can mentor him. So you still see cases of prospects technically, like even Giannis Antetokounmpo. He was really young, but he wasn't just a top 5 pick. He went in the later part of the lottery, still just from his size and athleticism. So you see him happen both ways, and it just adds on to the level of what the GMs look for.
Yeah. So breaking news.
That was amazing.
Go ahead, Cam.
I'm about to say that was an amazing example. I just forgot the Greek freak himself. You watched Giannis 10 years ago, like just when he first, it was disgusting, but you could see the talent and potential there was just nasty. Like it looks like me playing basketball, trying to play basketball when he first came to the league. Long, lanky, he can jump and run, but he couldn't do anything else. So you took that risk on him and it got you a championship and changed your franchise and made it worth billions. So it's a high risk. But high risk, low risk, high reward type thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, breaking news. Edgar Berlanga, the guy who lost to Canelo a couple months ago, he just won in the first round via KO. So there was plans that he was going to fight someone like Caleb Plant next or Charlo, leading up to a possible rematch with Canelo. But I think Canelo's going to be pretty tied up with his next fight and trying to land something with Mr. Terrence. So, does anybody have any comments on the boxing world, or we want to switch on to the next topic? Because I don't mind switching on the next one.
I like watching boxing, but I don't know enough to say anything intelligent about, the scheduling and whatnot.
Gotcha. I'm the same way. At first, I thought you were about to say, probably trying to plan a fight with like Logan Paul or Jake Paul. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear that with Canelo. That's just a waste.
Cam?
I don't know if he knows his mic's muted.
Oh. Cam? Okay. So switching on to our next topic, let's discuss winners and losers. 2 teams that were requested by one of our members. We'll go about first, then we'll grab a couple, and we'll kind of do 2 at a time, and then we'll have a debate. 2 at a time, have a debate. So, first 2 teams. You got 30 seconds. You choose, are they better now or are they better before? First 2 teams, Cowboys, Seahawks. Matt, you want to lead?
Well, it's obviously Seattle's gotten much better. They got a couple nice players. You're welcome, Seattle, from our Dallas Cowboys. But the absolute loser right now for HC is the Dallas Cowboys. No huge signage. We're in talk with Cooper Cup. Now he goes to Seattle. And even just add the cherry on top, we have even former Dallas Cowboy players with Jordan Lewis and DeMarcus Lawrence talking about, oh, yeah, they had to leave Dallas because guess what? They weren't going to win a ring there. And now they're going to a team that has a better chance, they feel like, they'll win a ring after trading the quarterback and having a new head coach than Dallas Cowboys. So we're absolute losers with this free agency.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, man. Like, you see that thing that came out about just like the coaching staff and not running the right schemes for the play. I mean, obviously, every player thinks they're being put in the wrong situation on the field. I get that, but I mean, these guys are, where's a Hall of Famer? Like he is one of the guys who's qualified to complain if he so chooses to. And obviously, Seattle got a hell of a lot better. I'm still not convinced that Darnold is the truth, but I'm not convinced Geno was the truth either. So, like, even if the quarterback move was lateral, I think the skill positions got younger, got faster. They shored up, the parts, just like, I think they did a good job shoring up a lot of the small pieces to make them a better team. More complete.
And I caught the end. I had to come back in. I got another phone call, so it was interrupting my service. I heard free agency.
So we're doing 30-second Saturdays, right? Same theme. And you're discussing are the teams better but now or the teams better before? Cowboys, Seahawks are the first two teams.
Cowboys are just they're no different. They're no different. No signing that's gonna make you say ooh ah. It's literally Miles Sanders replaces Donald or whatever his name is. He's no really better than him, and Donald's no better than him. So it's like an even switch off. They got no better. Seahawks. That is going to be a question mark. I don't know how that's going to work out exactly. I'm kind of to see it. Seahawks is a team that you just never can count out.
Time. So my 30 seconds.
I'm not talking.
So.
I'm gonna say I'll take my thing. I'm gonna say.
The Cowboys, I think, are still on the same tread, and it's at like a D minus, I would say. I think the Seahawks got worse. My personal opinion, I think they got worse. They got worse at the quarterback position. They got worse on the outside. I think trying to replace DK and Tyler, they did like a half and half with Cooper. And that's so 2 minutes on the clock. Cam, back to you. Go for it.
And like you say, the Seahawks, you can feel that way, rightfully. So, I agree. Like they got rid of weapons on the wide receiver, and Sam Darnold. Yeah, he had a way better season than Geno, but we know Geno is like just Mr. Consistent. We don't know what we're about to get out of Sam Darnold. So that's sad, and you can see that how people on Twitter and social media usually make these speculations from outside. The owner's crap. He doesn't do. Well, I'm glad that these players who left are confirming what we already obviously knew about Jerry Jones and being the cheapest guy ever. I thought I was Mr. Crash. This guy is terrible. I mean, you're America's team. You have all the resources. You have the attraction to the players for them to get anybody to come in free agency, and you have the money. It's no reason why people are not complaining and saying the Cowboys are doing witchcraft and not the Kansas City Chiefs, because it's no reason why you don't win or be a contender every year with the money, resources, and popularity that you have in Dallas. And it's sad. I never been a Cowboy.
You're lagging pretty bad.
You said what?
I said you started lagging pretty bad. Matt, go ahead.
So yeah, like, and you made a great point. I didn't think about the total picture. Obviously, Seattle has a better free agency than Dallas, but you're actually right in the total out scheme of things is that they actually did get worse. Let's not just act like Sam Darnold's just that much better. I think he's truly worse than Geno Smith. I feel like it's going to be one of those like wake up type of years, like what do we do the signing? And of course, losing DK Metcalf and I don't think they got Tyler Lockett back. They released him, if I'm correct. Just they're going to have a new identity on offense. Now, defense, I feel like that will get better. They'll have a better defense, but offensively, that's going to be the struggle, and they're just going to have a middle of the pack defense. While Dallas just, I think we're taking for Arch. That's my mindset.
Ish.
Yeah, I think Cam's point, it kind of reminds me of the Knicks for a long time, right? The fame, the money, the resources, guys want to play there. But I mean, I like Jerry in the sense that he spends money to try to win. And that's what you want your owners to do at the end of the day. But I think he's got to be like, okay, I'll sign the check, but I don't have to make the decision and sign the check. It worked for Dolan. He put Leon Rose in charge. It's working in Denver. They've got a good group in charge, and Penners and Walmart are just signing the checks. I think Jerry, I know he wants to win one more before he dies, and he keeps trying to push all his chips every spring. But like, brother, go pay like a top tier GM for 2 years, ride it out. Is what I would do if I were in his shoes.
Yeah, so that was something.
Oh,
Go ahead, Cam.
I'm so. It's just that's the reason. It's not. He won't. It's the ego. Am I cutting out bad?
No, you're
No.
not.
My bad.
No, it's no worries. So something that I will say, he's probably gonna join back ready to talk. So something I will say, I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh, my grandma used to tell me all the time playing dominoes that all money ain't good money. Sometimes you slap down a 10 thinking you got it going on and somebody backdoor you for a 20 ball right there. And you like, what? So I feel like, at what point the little moves, little idiocracy with money will we compare Jerry Jones to someone like Nico? Because it's like, fire Nico. We hate Nico for one big bad move. But Jerry Jones has been dibble-dabbling little bad moves, poor decisions and choices for 30 years. So, that's just my question for the round. Go ahead, Matt.
Coming from a Dallas Cowboy fan myself, the issue is not why does Jerry Jones have a job? Because as a Cowboy fan, I've seen me and many other people say that for years. Only difference between Jerry Jones and Nico is Nico can get fired. Jerry Jones is not going to fire himself. He has too big of an ego. So, it's the issue. Like, we're worried about signing our homegrown talent and everything, stuff like that, like Dak Prescott. We haven't had a true new quarterback outside of the draft in how many years? Like, because we had Dak, then we had Tony Romo. Before that, there was Troy Aikman, and then Roger Staubach. And besides then, you probably got some bridge quarterbacks, but never like long term. Oh, you see some teams just are able to get a free agent. I don't know what our last big free agent was. Like, the last one I can truly remember was maybe Terrell Owens, and that was probably, I believe, a trade.
Last point-ish.
I mean, I think I got my point out. I think, just Jerry needs to get his head out of his ass and let someone else make the trades, decide the deals, right? He's got to sign the checks. And can't fire Jerry Jones. Only the devil's coming to free you, brother.
That's a good point. So, looking at that, where did DeMarcus Lawrence go?
I'm sorry?
What team did DeMarcus Lawrence go to?
Don't check.
Seahawks.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So in the way that DeMarcus Lawrence and Mr. Chandler Parsons were talking to each other, and it got a couple other people involved, I don't know. You think it's some type of rivalry coming? What do you think? Go ahead, Matt.
I mean, let's be honest. There's not going to be a rivalry with Seattle and Dallas. Is there going to be a little pity one between the fans? Yeah, but there's not going to be a true rivalry. Both teams are not good enough to make it a true rivalry like that. Now, on the field, will they have some social media trash talk? I guarantee you, at some point, they're going to make amends. I guarantee DeMarcus Lawrence is one day going to be on Micah's podcast laughing about the whole situation. Maybe have a little banner, but I think this is the peak it's getting to.
Good timing ish.
Yeah, I think the more noise there is, the more chance of a change, right? The more guys complain and go have success outside of Dallas. Right now, Seattle's defense looks damn good with Lawrence up there. People start listening to the noise a little more.
Yeah, that's a great point. One thing I feel like is a thing with Dallas in particular is pride. Wow. It's not that many states and cities within states like the Dallas, Texas pride. So there's a type of brainwashing that some organizations have, Yankees, Lakers, Cowboys, that you have to kind of punch them in the face a couple times to say, you know what? No, we're not that good. You know what? No, we need to change. And I feel like with success of other players leaving where they can still succeed, not when they're shriveled up towels, when they can still succeed, is a nice serving of humble pie for someone like the Dallas Cowboys. Any last comments on that?
I mean, you can say people succeeding out of Dallas. There's another just honest truth if you just look at it, especially recent history. How many people who have left Dallas have truly made an impact on another team?
Exactly.
I can't think of that many people. Dante Fowler's back as a Cowboy. He wasn't like just outstanding with the Commanders. He was okay, but he wasn't as good as he was with the Cowboys. Look at our right tackle Terrence Steele. He left the free agency a year or two ago. Now he had to get cut from the Bengals if I'm correct, and then come back to the Dallas Cowboys to be our starting right tackle. That just shows you, like, on our end, we think of these players as high value athletes, but on other teams, they're just either mediocre guys, maybe bench players.
So you feel as though it is it's a draft problem. It's not necessarily like it's what they do in the offseason is a problem with the Cowboys, not schematics. I feel like the problem with the Cowboys is more like a schematics issue before a roster issue.
It is absolutely schematics. Let's look at the facts for how many years we had Jason Garrett as our head coach. Notice how when Jason Garrett got hired, he wasn't just getting called everywhere. He was a good offensive coordinator. But he spent too long as a head coach in Dallas. Now he does analytics on TV as an analyst. And then Mike McCarthy, I've said this for how many years? He's an overrated head coach. The one ring he got with the Green Bay Packers was because that was just a stacked team.
Aaron Rodgers merchant.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. He had a great running core. Good offensive line. Greg Jennings, Donald Driver at the receivers. Look at the defense. Tramon Williams, Charles Woodson, Clay Matthews, AJ Hawk, BJ Raji. The safeties, I can't remember on the top of my head, but they had Pro Bowl, All Pro safeties. They were just a stacked team, and that was just one of those that was their years. It reminds me of the Barry Switzer Cowboys after getting rid of Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, they won a ring, but no one gives the coach credit.
Speaking of, can I just mention that really fast? We had two takes last week. The other episode that I would like to kind of see some opinions on. One of them is the greatest hitter pound for pound ever. If you could not say Brian Dawkins or Ray Lewis, who would you say?
Ooh, not saying Brian Dawkins, Ray Lewis. Obviously, there's
Steve Atwater.
Steve Atwater's good. You can look at Ronnie Lott.
Okay, so someone in the comments said Ronnie Lott. Someone in the comments said Clay Matthews, Cam Chancellor, Sean Taylor. What do y'all think?
Taylor?
Here's another. Here's one that no one really talks about as much. Patrick Willis.
Okay, 30 seconds. Go.
I forgot about Patrick Willis. He retired so fast.
Patrick Willis didn't have a long career, but he was the new Ray Lewis. Like, Ray Lewis was getting out, and then he was there becoming the best middle linebacker in all of football. Like, even the year that the Ravens beat them in the Super Bowl, Patrick Willis was the best linebacker. And his ability with his speed, acceleration, especially with Navarro Bowman, like, it just made it impossible to run through the middle. And again, he just watched some Patrick Willis highlights to get some nostalgia back because no one wanted to go crossing routes with him.
I think one guy who's fallen out of favor recently, but he was exciting when he was younger. He's fast coming out of these blitzes with Jamal Adams. I don't think we think of him as maybe a traditional like nuclear missile safety, but man, when he'd come out of those blitzes, he'd fold a quarterback in half. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, that's two great ones. So I mean, I think we could build a full roster at this point of just big boomers. Patrick Willis was definitely sneaky.
Tackle he could hit for a quarterback.
Who?
I'll take a 3-4 defense with Ray Lewis and Patrick Willis.
Yeah. What did you say, Matt?
I was saying I'll take a 3-4 defense with my two inside linebackers being Ray Lewis and Patrick Willis. I
Yeah,
played about that once.
That's definitely pretty solid. That's definitely pretty solid.
You'd be okay with that?
Yeah, y'all better spread the floor a little bit. So another take that I wanted to get you two's opinion on. So I had a conversation with the Graveyard. I mentioned the Baltimore Ravens and receivers, and then this sparked a little argument between a couple of teams. Someone in the comments mentioned the Raiders quarterbacks, which led to someone in the comments right now said Lawrence Taylor, Ed Reed. I see you mentioning Ronnie Lott. That's a good one. Ed Reed's a really good one. Shout out Pops, man.
Real good.
Ed Reed is a good athlete too.
Yeah.
One of my favorite football clips is that punt block attempt for Ed Reed where he's mad that he missed a block because he got held, then ran back and got a blindside block on somebody knocking his ass out. And him and Ray Lewis just celebrating after. That's one of my favorite clips of all time.
Yeah, so let's see if we can do a little controversial debate between you two and see who comes out. You can't say the Baltimore Ravens receivers. You can't say the Jets quarterbacks. You can't say the Cleveland Browns quarterbacks. Do you have a position and a team to where it goes to die? Now, remember, in terms of death, it can be revived somewhere else, right? So players can go somewhere else later on and revive their career. It doesn't necessarily have to be drafted either. It could be free agent. It could be whatever. Give you two guys some time to think. I'll go over some topics between what we just said, unless one of you are ready to go right now. Y'all ready?
But if somebody might get mad in the comments.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
You can't keep a good kicker in Minnesota. You can't get him there. You can't keep him there. If you think you got him there, he'll turn into ass. He'll leave and become great again.
Pretty good. Okay. You want to pull in?
I mean, Blair Walsh was, let's be honest, Blair Walsh was a good kicker before that playoff game.
Regular season merchant, brother. Regular season merchant.
He was a good kicker. And then he
was a good player.
All confidence.
I think kickers are the guys though that like they're the ones who like delivering them are like I would say the second most high pressure clutch guys after quarterbacks, right? Like you gotta deliver the goods in the playoffs at the end of the day.
That's good. Oh, that was good. Matt, you got somebody yet?
I mean, mine's going to be wrong, but it's one of the ones I'm thinking off the top of my head, and it's just like, ooh. I can't think of how I cannot say it. And it's not going to be what you think. I'm not saying like, oh yeah, these players' careers just die, like they just went bad. Mine's going to be the Detroit Lions with their greats. Because think about it, having one of the greatest wide receivers of all time, having to retire early because you were in Detroit. Just that killing years off of history. And you had Barry Sanders, one of the greatest running backs of all time, having to retire early because he just didn't want to keep going. And having Matthew Stafford
on the Mount Rushmore, but like I'm sure he'd still be a lot. His back would be as fucked as it is today if he wasn't playing in Detroit for 10 years first.
Yeah, but look at Matthew Stafford. The first year he leaves Detroit, wins the Super Bowl with the Rams.
Yep.
So, and it showed like if Matthew Stafford never left Detroit, he was going to be a forgotten quarterback in the NFL. There's going to be another Calvin because Calvin could have went down being up there with Randy Moss and Jerry Rice if he just played longer, maybe on another team. Barry Sanders would have been undoubtedly the best running back of all time, even with his limited seasons. And overall, just look at other great players they had: Nick Fairley, Ndamukong Suh, like some great players, but just never get the hype. And they only had one good playoff run in how many years before these past couple seasons?
Yeah, even in the past couple of seasons, it's crashed and burned embarrassingly. So speaking of, let's just roll what we got and keep it pushing. Let's talk more about the two teams' success. 30 seconds apiece. Go for it. We're gonna go Vikings. We're gonna go Broncos. Better before, better after. Why? 30 seconds on the clock. Pick. You can talk about both teams, please. Don't try to stuck on one team because remember we're gonna do a group discussion. Ish, go first. Go.
I mean, I'm very happy with what the Broncos are doing. I think we're making the right moves around the edges. We got a rookie quarterback, so we can afford to spend a little money elsewhere, extend the young guys, shore up the defense, especially depth-wise. I think we have one of the best starting units in football and one of the worst, secondary injury replacement, second down guys, just the worst. So I think shoring up we got first down, third down guys. Now we got second down guys on the defense, which is going to help a lot with consistency at the end of games, I think. Because there's
Whoa. You have used your 30 seconds, sir. Matthew.
Sorry, Matt.
I mean, both teams have gone so much better. They're my two winners of free agency, to be honest. The Broncos, but also with what Ish said, let me just add another one. The trading for Noah Fant is going to be huge for them. He's going to be a great safety valve, and they can just build the rest of the receiving core with the draft. Now, when it comes to the Vikings, I love what they did because one of the first way you have to dominate any football, which is what you saw from Philadelphia, which is what Kellen Moore is learning from, is the trenches, the offensive and defensive line, and he's building that culture already in Minnesota.
So, good timing. Man, that's tough. So, obviously, I think both teams have gotten better. Okay, and I will lead to a discussion of the next conversation. Which teams out of the two of them move the needle the more? Because I feel like Minnesota has everything but a proven competent quarterback, and Denver has a bunch of pieces that, if gelled together correctly, man, it's gonna be hard to beat them boys. Matt, go first.
First off, I said Kellen Moore was the head coach. I was wrong. They have the coach of the year. I can't remember his name on top of my head, but they're seeing the Eagles' success with the trenches. That's what they're building their success on. Anyways, but JJ McCarthy, he might be legit. Think about last season. Sam Darnold was the backup. The only reason he started was because JJ McCarthy was injured. They loved JJ McCarthy in training camp. They were very high valued. He probably had the best training camp of every quarterback. And because of his injury, Sam Darnold had his season. He had a great season. Now I'm curious what JJ McCarthy can do, or maybe they might go after Aaron Rodgers for a year.
Ish.
Dude, I don't think. Look, JJ already needed extra time to cook. He hasn't practiced for a year. They shored up the right pieces around the team, but yeah, they need a quarterback. I think they're going to go get Aaron Rodgers. I think just like when Brett Favre was in town, they're going to be pretty good with Aaron Rodgers. They might even win a couple playoff games. Like y'all said, the Jets over quarterback goes to die, and I think Aaron Rodgers is one of the 5 best quarterbacks that's ever been on this earth. So you put him in Minnesota, Lord, look out. Otherwise, I don't know, man. It might be the same as last year. Above average team with an average quarterback is probably average results in the playoffs.
So, yeah, I'm gonna open it up now, and y'all too, because you're saying Broncos make the better move. Matt's saying Minnesota's making the better move. Can y'all both argue each other?
If they get Rodgers, I agree with Matt. I think if they get the quarterback, I agree with Matt.
No, we're not talking if. We're talking right now.
Again,
though. Right now, I think the Broncos are better positioned, but the Vikings still are in the market for one of the most important positions on the roster, and there's a guy out there who wants to play for him who's Hall of Famer. So,
I mean, let me be honest here. I want to be completely honest. I feel like that JJ McCarthy is going to be better than Bo Nix this year. Bo Nix was really good, but again, JJ McCarthy was one of the best ranked training camp quarterbacks when you look at the training camp stats they tried to do and everything. He threw
I watched that Michigan enough, man.
They were really hyped about him, and I think Minnesota's coach is just a better quarterback guru. Like, look what he did with Sam Darnold. You don't think he's going to be able to do something with that with JJ McCarthy?
Sam
Yeah,
Darnold
see,
credits a
very
lot
good.
of
I
his
think-
success to the 49ers and Brock Purdy and them boys. So I do like we were looking at Sam Darnold in Carolina and the Jets before going to the 49ers. So it's like it's hard to guess which way Sam Darnold's gonna go, but I get your point. Ish.
I see what you're saying, Matt. Like, I think I agree. KOC's a great coach. I mean, they'll be in position to succeed. Whoever's the quarterback in Minnesota this year, the roster's good enough with that head coach. They're going to win 12, 13 games. As long as it's not like a complete potato behind the center, right?
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
right now. To be honest, I'm predicting them finishing number 1 in the NFC North over Green Bay and Detroit.
You think over Detroit? Over Green Bay? Sure. I'm with you. Over Detroit?
Look at what they did with their defensive line. Like with their 3-4 defense, they got. I have to look at the names off the top of my head. Jonathan Allen, the cat from San Francisco. They had a really good defensive tackle already, and then their outside blitzers were one of the best pressure units in all the NFL before they got these dudes now.
The one from San
And
Francisco was a former Eagle, that's a Hargrove.
Yeah, thank you, Hargrove. I always forget his name, Javon Hargrove. But
He's good. Yeah, I also forgot his name, but he's good.
you cannot double team one of them because they all are good in a run too. So the thing you highlight about Detroit is their offensive line. They made a unit to match that offensive line. And that's what people are not seeing. It's like if you can help stuff the trenches, the thing with Detroit, they have to get a defense too. Minnesota has a guaranteed defense, and now I feel like their offense is going to explode with JJ McCarthy.
Detroit has a really good defense though. Detroit, they need to draft a corner and maybe another safety and they'll be okay. But their front seven is good.
Yeah, look, I think they have a good defense. I don't think they have a great defense.
Agreed. Ish? Anything?
I agree. I think, yeah, your point about the defense being a lot better. I hear that. I think, obviously, the Lions are kind of, that's the team they've got for the next couple of years, right? So if the people who are close get better, then I think, yeah, you have a point. There's a chance.
So someone in the comments said, I agree with Matt that Detroit also lost 2 coaches.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the loss of Ben Johnson, that's going to really, really hurt.
I
People
forgot
are
about that.
not understanding that loss because he's just a offensive. When it comes to offensive minds, he's probably one of, if not the best in the NFL. He's up there with the Kyle Shanahan's and Sean McVay's, and when it comes to the offensive minds.
Yeah. So, ranking your top 3 teams so far in free agency, do both of you have the Vikings and Broncos in your top 3, or is there someone else? Go ahead, Ish.
Yeah, I would say it's those two. In my head, I had Seattle doing really well before we had started this conversation, and you and Matt have walked me off the ledge on Seattle's offseason. So, I don't know. I don't love what the Rams are doing. Like I get there, one more push with some young guys and reload with Stafford, but like I don't
And
know,
Devontae.
man. I'm trying to think, like, going across the league, there's nobody who's like jumped out as me as like, oh yeah, these guys are like definitely doing the right thing. Like I'm just not 100% sold on all the action so far. Like I think Oakland has gotten significantly better, but I don't think they're like
Vegas.
Like they went from like 25 to like 50, which might be the biggest jump in quality between all these teams. But like, you got to be like an A+ team, I think, to matter in this conference. Like you have to be, at least fighting for a playoff spot, I think, to matter in this conversation.
I mean, for sure, Denver and Minnesota are the best free agent teams. Now, if you're talking about all offseason, you probably could throw Pittsburgh in there because DK Metcalf's a big signing or a big trade for them to help get that second wide receiver to help George Pickens out. But I really also like the moves that New England and New Orleans have done as well. I can't remember every single signing and trade on top of my head, but I just remember just seeing some of their moves. They're not the big flashy moves, but there's some solid people. Like New Orleans got the defensive tackle from Detroit that was really good yesterday with Kellen Moore adding on to that defensive line, trying to build the Eagles' depth, being the new Saints head coach. But the what's his name? The Patriots got that one defensive tackle from Carolina who actually really broke out, and they paid him a lot, but his potential is insane when you look at how athletic he is at his size. So both teams are looking a lot better. And I'm gonna probably just put the Patriots in that third spot because I feel like they're gonna be a much better team with another year improved Drake May, and then whatever they can do with this Joe Milton situation, trade him, keep him, whatever the case is. Either way, it'll help them.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I feel like you have to grade trades off where you were and where you're going, not necessarily how much closer are you getting to the championship. How much did you improve from zero? And if I'm looking, honestly, the biggest improvement for me is Chicago. Man, they got 3 offensive linemen and some pieces on the defense in the side that can help out a lot. You had someone who every snap was running for his absolute life. He couldn't even read any concepts, develop any concept because of snap and running. So Chicago definitely be in my top 3. I'm not speaking on if, I'm speaking on now. Obviously, the Vikings and Broncos, in terms of moving the needle, are in the top 3. If the Steelers and a couple other teams get a quarterback, that's going to change the game. The Jets, you know what? I'll pause that. Someone in the comments said Atlanta is going to be a sleeper team. I'm just saying. I'm looking at Atlanta.
Penix Jr. Get out of here.
I like Michael Penix. I like Michael Penix as a quarterback. I like their roster, but I don't feel like they've made any moves in the offseason. I'm trying to see right now. I'm trying to scroll on my phone, look around. I don't see Jack squad diddly poop.
In like Bill Simmons terms, they're going to be a league pass. They're going to be a fun team to turn on if you got nothing else going on and during the 4 o'clock slot on a Sunday. They'll put on a show, but I don't think they're going to be like good.
Now they have talent, right? Aged talent. I think their talent room is significantly better than New Orleans, which you talked about their signings, Matt. I thought that was way too much money to give Chase Young. I'm glad that she was able to work around the Tyrann Mathieu contract, but that was a lot of money to give Chase Young. Whoa, what are we doing? We're looking at money, cap space, things of that nature. There's a couple of teams that are like, what are we doing? And New Orleans is definitely the top of that poll. Anybody have something with that?
Well, I thought they would like try to do a hard cap reset because they've got a lot of bills to do. These motherfuckers keep spending money. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I'm impressed. Well, I agree. Is Chase Young really the best use of that much money? Like, he's a good player and all, don't get me wrong. Great athlete, but like...
But dude's not even win now.
On the market of that caliber who wanted to come play in New Orleans, given, they're going through rebuild, new coach, all that good stuff. But like, damn, bro, that's a lot of money.
Especially not to be win now. That's crazy.
Yeah. Like, I get it if you're like, fuck it. We're a piece away on the defense. Like, let's put our chips in the middle of the table. Drew Brees' last ride. But that was 5 years ago.
And the Bills. Go ahead, Matt.
Sorry, I was just going to say, when we look at the Saints and the Falcons and everything, it's a whole issue with the NFC South. Is just any team can win that division. Right now, the Buccaneers are the best team. But it's not like the Buccaneers are just, everyone's here, the Buccaneers are up here. No, it's like this of anything. But the Falcons thing, which is from what our viewers' comment is, the whole thing is, we're not trying to sleep on them. They have good people. I love Jesse Bates. He's one of my favorite players. Their issue is just be able to play as a team and actually get the team success. And until they do that, no matter what players they get, they've gotten better over the years. But no matter what, the players gotten better, but the team really hasn't.
So if you had to pick one team right now, or we can do a carousel, name a team, and I want you to say, what are you doing? And then I want you to rant about what they are doing wrong. I'll go first as an example. Looking at the Jets, bro, what are you doing? Justin Fields is cool and all, but I don't think that he moves the needle in terms of making that team competitive in a way where you can go for the draft or maybe go in a different direction, I just feel like Justin Fields is a sale for eyes and for show. Granted, he did play with Garrett Wilson, great, but I'm not really interested in seeing that. Nor am I sold on that being some type of competitiveness that moves them in their division. Next.
I'll go, and I could do mine over the Cowboys, but I already kind of did my rant
No,
earlier,
go ahead.
and I can do it for years. But I want to do another team. I want San Francisco. What are you doing? Like you're one. 2 years ago, you were one of the best teams. Everyone thought this was going to be your year, and obviously injuries happened. It was unfortunate. No one questioned it. No one's like San Francisco's washed. But now the question is, are y'all? Yeah, you still have some of the best players in the play. You got George Kittle. You got Christian McCaffrey when he's healthy. You got Fred Warner, Brock Purdy. But letting Debo go, letting some of your offensive linemen go, letting Dre Greenlaw go, letting one of your safeties go. Yeah, injuries happen. They were injured, blah, blah, blah. But a couple years ago, they were your best pieces. They're some of your best pieces. And if you want to contend, you can't lose people. You have to gain people. Now, give them the benefit of the doubt. They're a good drafting team. They're probably going to find some good gems to replace them and some solid players. But, I mean, with the Eagles getting a little bit worse, I still think they're one of the best teams. But they...
Excuse me, sorry. Someone's stuck in my throat. I'm not trying to be an asshole over here. I agree with the Jets take. Yeah, man. I like Justin Fields. He's a good kid.
Different team.
Oh, different team? Fuck, dude. And then the New Orleans. Yeah, New Orleans. Okay. They needed to have reset their
so you gotta do New Orleans. What are you doing?
Like, why are we New Orleans? What are you doing? Why are we spending all this money? Where the hell did it come from? Mickey Loomis, keep your checkbook in your pockets. Relax. Just go get a couple of draft picks. Promise the coach you won't fire him if they shit the bed this year. And fucking clear the accounts, man. It's like watching a friend who's in debt on a boat keep rolling that like debt forward into a new lease every time. And next thing you know, he owes $100,000 on a $15,000 boat. That's what we're watching the Saints do in real time.
Washington Commanders, what are you doing? Look, I'm sorry. Tunsil is old. He's washed. I was watching him in Houston. Horrible. Debo is not a needle mover. You gave Kinlaw 3 years. What was that, 57? Let me make sure. 45. What are you doing? I feel like the Washington Commanders are in an awkward situation to where they're too good of a team and have too poised of a competitive roster in terms of like star talent to settle and are forced to win now mode. But they just pulled the trigger off of impulse instead of legitimately thinking this through. There's weapons like Amari Cooper that are still out there that can work, but you're signing Zach Ertz again? You're signing Bobby Wagner again? I'm just not convinced. What are you doing?
Mine's going to probably have to be Baltimore. What are you doing? You got DeAndre Hopkins. Good job. But he's not saying DeAndre Hopkins. Where is the needle mover? You got Derrick Henry last year. You saw what that difference did for you. But now you're making crickets. But I don't know any big moves they've made. I might have missed it. I'm not sure. I haven't heard any big step they made trying to get better than they were last year. Like, they have... Kansas City lost. This is your advantage to take over. Why are y'all just sleeping? Why are y'all just like, know what? We have the team. We're just going to get better. No, get better. Make a trade. Make a signing. Who cares about a free agent or just cares about a draft right now? This is your year if you're going to have a championship year.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, fuck them picks. But we have seen teams do the 2 timelines thing with picks, and it's worked. Now, it's only worked for Kansas City and New England. So there's that. or at least somewhat recently, it's only worked for Kansas City, New England. But I'm a big fan of cost control talent. You know, go get good rookies, teach them how to hoop. He'll be all right.
So no team for the what are you doing?
I did my what are you doing?
No, we're still going.
Oh, I thought this was a 2-minute discussion about
Yeah,
it.
you did 2 of them.
I see.
It's
My next
difficult.
one is Carolina. What are you doing? What is Carolina doing? Do they have confidence in Bryce Young or not? I can't figure it out. They don't seem to be making moves to make his life easier, which makes me think, okay, then maybe, you know, they're going to say, all right, fuck that. Maybe we could try to go defense and we go get like some medium bridge quarterback, reset this thing. But they're not doing that either. So yeah, I guess my question is, what is Carolina doing? Do they believe in their kid or not? And then they gotta go. I feel like they're straddling the line on decision making, on investing in Bryce Young, or saying fuck it, let's try again.
So I was kind of stuck on my last ones. I was trying to figure out which one would get the most like. But honestly, I just gotta suck it up and just take it for what it is, bro. What are the Giants doing? I wanted to say Tennessee. I wanted to say the Colts, but like, what are the Giants doing?
Drafted Shedeur Sanders, brother.
Look, I'm not trying to be funny, but all I want you to do is scroll the last 20 years and tell me when they drafted anyone that doesn't look like Eli Manning. So I'm just saying, it's just not. Look, they have way too many holes, way too many gaps, and their lack of free agency move concerns me so much. I feel like they're gonna be in the bottom of that division, our division, my division, for a very long time. If there's any team that's gonna be in the bottom of the division for a long time, it's gonna be the New York Giants. Yeah, Matt.
I think they're preying on the Aaron Rodgers bailout package, but I don't think that's coming.
I actually had to look at this just to see, because I just thought about a random team out of nowhere. Jacksonville, what are you doing? What moves have they made? They haven't really brought anybody in at all. I'm looking, the last thing they did was, looks like when they released Evan Ingram and traded Christian Kirk. You're coming down to a time where you have to figure out if Trevor Lawrence is your franchise quarterback or not. Usually by that point, you're surrounding him with more talent. You're getting rid of one of his for sure favorite targets when it comes to Evan Ingram, but now Christian Kirk too, and you're not replacing them. Now they're going to be a team. I feel like they're going to go for the McClellan guy from Arizona or a Travis Hunter, but still, just what are you doing? Especially with the AFC South, that's an open conference right now or division.
It's last one.
I'm trying to think of the last one. I'm struggling now. Like I got my 2 front office roasts out of the way, and like it's hard to evaluate. So I feel like a lot of the teams are making the right moves on paper, maybe. Or it's like I'm not as confident in the guy that they signed, but it's like, okay, yeah, you know, they needed a cornerback, they went and got a cornerback. You know, they went and go pay JC Horn, right? Like whatever. Dude, we're gonna have to give PS2 an extension in like a year and a half. I'm scared.
Big money.
I did just shit on the Panthers and then compliment them for an extension. Here we go. But I think maybe Jacksonville's another one of those like, what is the front office doing? Like,
yeah, Matt just said.
I remember there were rumors about like Trevor Lawrence getting out, but what happened? I don't know. Dude, I'm burning tires. I know I'm saying I'm human.
So we're looking at the top 10. Let's go top 10 picks. Cam Ward at number 1, projected. Travis Hunter at number 2. Number 1 is Tennessee. Number 2 is Cleveland. Number 3, Shedeur to New York.
Yep.
We have Armin, the OT from Missouri, going to New England.
Which list are you looking at?
Huh?
What list are you looking at?
I'm looking at the 33rd team. I can send it to the group chat.
Where's the Ohio State kid projected?
Which one?
The dude with the insane wingspan. I don't remember his last name.
Are you talking about Tui Tuipulotu, whatever his name is?
Yeah, I can't fucking yeah. I thought he was predicted to go pretty high, or is that the other Ohio State? I might be mixing them two up, honestly.
Yeah, there's Jack Sawyer and him, but I got two. I'm gonna call him Tui, but I got him ranked higher. Yeah, I got him as a true first round. While I got Jack Sawyer because he's not as long as you would think.
Yeah,
I got
the
him.
physicals on the first guy are crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Technique's a little suspect, but you can't teach long arms. Like it's just a little Bol is the original version. You can't teach length.
Yeah. So I'll read off a couple. I'll read off this top 10, and then what you can do is you can discuss why one of these 10 are wrong, or you can talk about your team's pick and what they should do. So we'll do Tennessee Titans number 1, Cam Ward. Travis Hunter, number 2, Cleveland Browns. Number 3, Shador to the Giants. 4, Armin Mambu to the Patriots. Mason Graham from Michigan to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ashton Gentry to the Raiders at number 6. That's kind of crazy. Number 7, Abdul Carter falling all the way to the Jets. That's crazy, huh? Number 8, Shamar Stewart from A&M going to the Panthers. Number 9, you got Tyler Warren, the Penn State abnominal tight end going to the Saints. And number 10, Jalen Walker from Georgia going to Chicago. Do y'all want to kind of cut up on one of those, or do y'all want to talk about your team?
I mean, I'll go ahead real quick and just talk about Abdul Carter. Like, one of the reasons why I was asking what list was that, because when you were saying like some other people, I'm like, I have Abdul Carter as the best player in this draft.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
Because I'm basing off potential and everything like that as well. That's my big factor with it. He reminds me a lot of Micah Parsons. And he's another Penn State cat. And this was his first year from going to true outside linebacker to being a true defensive end. And he was a monster. You watch his tape, and when it comes off the edge and it's just high motor, like you can't coach this stuff. He's just too athletic. Now, I didn't just watch all of his statistics in the combine, so maybe something dropped there, but nothing to make him say like he's a number 7 overall pick.
Well, look, I'm looking. I don't went through Sports Illustrated, Bleeding Green, CBS Sports, SYN, which is the New York dude. He's dropped in everything. They're saying it's surprisingly low NFL draft drops for Abdul. Don't know why. I think it probably one of those cases to where the numbers confused one too many people, and they will all regret that not getting him. But I don't know which team will take the risk.
He's going to be a steal.
Absolutely. But a steal for who?
I mean, is there a contender that's willing to trade to get a elite defensive end?
Hell no.
That's what I'm trying to think.
Not up that high, right? Look at the teams that's drafting right now. That's really high.
I mean, it just depends. Does he drop like a Jalen Carter? I know Jalen Carter had off-field issues. That was his obvious.
Yeah, he did.
But if he drops to around 7 or 8, I'm making a call. Like, hey, here's a few extra draft picks. Get us an elite defensive end who's going to be productive in his first year.
I mean, that strategy worked for Philly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think the potential's there. I agree. It's a risky pick, man. Like it's a big balls pick, right?
Yeah.
In the first 5, I think if he slips, you're right.
Yeah,
then you make the call. But in the first 5, it's a big balls pick when you get Travis Hunter or roll the dice from the quarterbacks.
I agree. So I think within the first 5-ish picks, it's like, no, I think you gotta lock in and grab him. Okay. Sorry, y'all. They're gonna want too much. But someone like the Jets, someone like the Panthers, which is 7 and 8, they have a couple of pieces that need to be filled for them to be competitive rosters. And trading back, I'll give you 1 for 3 or 1 for 2 in a piece. That can definitely work for a team like the Panthers or the Jets. They already have the guy under center, right? So, and there's not generational super. I feel like that'd be a crowded room in New York. Maybe I'm wrong, but they have pieces that they can wait 3 more slots to grab another guy that can do a job compared to going straight for Abdul. Now, I'm not saying Abdul is not generational, sure, but I think that could be something that is possible trading around.
Real quick, I know I'm changing subjects a little. Where did you say? Did you say McMillan from Arizona on that list?
He was not in the top 10.
Really?
He was not in the top 10. I mean, okay, look at the teams, right? The Raiders got a guy over there, right? Or no?
Mm-hmm. Well, they don't really have a guy over there. They have, I think, their best receiver, Jacoby Myers, right now.
Their best receiver is that tight end.
Bowers. That's a dog.
Yes.
Brock Bowers. You're right.
Brock Bowers is the guy to
That's
catch the
receivers.
ball. He's a receiving tight end that can block. The Raiders right now need somebody that can tote the football. You know what I'm saying?
I think the problem with McMillan is he's the best receiver in this draft, so I think he got a little overhyped. This is not a good receiver class. Like, there's nothing McMillan does where you're like, yeah, he's transformative at this skill at the next level.
I mean,
he might be good at this, and that too. It's like he might be good at it. He's not the fastest guy. He doesn't jump the highest. He doesn't run the best routes. He doesn't have the best hands. He just is like the composite above average guy this year in a below average class. So I think he just like looks relatively better. I don't think he's. I wouldn't take him like outside of maybe the back end first round.
I think it's a system. It's a system. He's a system receiver. He's a system receiver with pads on, can run all the route trees, totality. He can go against zone coverage and find windows.
He wasn't like the crispest route runner. Like he wasn't like, he wasn't shifting a guy out of.
But at 6'6", 6'5", you don't have to be that.
And he has insane hands.
Yeah, he has a great range. He can go up, catch at his highest point with one hand easily. Great strength for his size and runs a 4.5. That's not bad. It's a system. I think that is better for him to not get drafted in the top 10, fall a little bit, go to somewhere you can get some snaps, like some serious snaps.
Him, obviously, but I mean, just that's surprising because as receiver, I got him higher than Travis Hunter.
Hey, Travis Hunter will not be getting drafted. Travis Hunter is not getting drafted to play receiver.
He's not going that high for a receiver.
He's not. And I feel like the thing with McMillan is that he needs to go somewhere where he's not necessarily the number one off the gun. If Marvin Harrison, that went to the Cardinals last year, if he would have went somewhere where he was number 2 to start, like Devontae Smith, start at number 2 and then work your way number 1, we would have not said he would. Oh my God, he's generational. He's on the come up. But you're going off the jump, off the first week, first snap. You're going against the number 1 every play. That kills confidence as receivers. So you're going somewhere with a terrible quarterback, terrible OC, terrible scheme, and you're going against the top, and you're 6'5". So most of your routes, you're getting safety help. That is a nightmare. That I would not waste a draft pick on him anyway, unless he was coming out like Ole Miss receiver. Ole Miss next year, they got a receiver coming out top. Alabama next year, they got a receiver coming out top. Tennessee and Ohio State got some receivers coming out top. He's not none of them.
Don't forget about Georgia.
Yeah, and Georgia. So, I'm looking at him. He played against mid-talent, right, and a forced offense. That's just my personal opinion. By the way, the Raiders need somebody to run the ball. Jaguars, they can use a receiver, but they also have no defense.
Mm-hmm.
The Texans got Christian Kirk. And, they got the guy from last year. What was the rookie's name? The Jaguars?
Brian Thomas.
Decent. But at 5,
good, yeah.
That's crazy.
No, I'm not saying draft him at 5. I'm just saying, like, he's going to be one of those receivers that makes a huge impact for a team. It's not like he's a receiver like a project. Because, again, you said 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah.
And runs a 4.5. Like, yeah, we think of DK Metcalf. Oh, that's the typical receiver. No, he's a freak.
DK ran 4.3 though. DK ran a 4.3.
That's what I'm saying. He's a freak. No 6'5" receivers running a 4.3 like that. besides DK. So I'll take a guy who's 4'5" and who has some of the best hands in all of college football.
I'm not drafting a guy who's not a freak in the top 10. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, because the thing about the top 10 is you're drafting for future. You're looking for heroes, anomalies. In between 10 to 15, 10 to 20, you're in between the
Someone
game.
who's 6'5", that athletic is not a freak at all.
Like, what was the line
forget
that
about
like
speed.
Ruggs, Judy, and CD went? Like, what was that? Like 14 through 16 or 15 through 18? Like,
Yeah, and CD was crazy.
The guys you draft. Now, obviously, CD is very, very good. Don't get me wrong. I like him, but
It takes a lot for a receiver to go that high. That's what we're saying. It takes a lot. And he checks off some things, but he doesn't check off all 5 tools.
But if you're a team, let me think of a team real quick. Maybe a team like Buffalo, maybe even a Kansas City, a Houston.
Yeah, exactly. Listen to the team that you're saying. That is low.
But you don't think one of them will try to trade up a little bit?
Hell
Hey,
no.
no,
Because what are you giving away? What are you giving away?
A couple of picks. First round this year, maybe a second and third round the year after.
So you're
Jump up
saying
to maybe
McMillan, McMillan going to one of those teams is a needle mover to winning? I don't think so. The Chiefs have 3 receivers locked in, and they're all fast. Buffalo plays eccentric within a receiver and a tight end. I don't think that's their guy for that type of role. The Houston Texans got Nico. They just got Christian Kirk, and they could use maybe a slot guy, but not something like that. You got Nico's a big body X, right? So I don't think there's any like super teams that need a body outside. Like he was running 4.2, okay, but a body outside, unless he converts to tight end, which will be kind of disrespectful, right? I like him having a big body outside, but he can go to the Cowboys. That's a great look. Him and CD.
Oh, that'll be a fun look. And I think another. Oh, sheesh.
Because the Cowboys are at 12. The Cowboys are at 12. That's not a bad pick.
Oh yeah, I agree. A team I actually think I might move up to get him, honestly, would be Seattle. Because you got this Sam Darnold guy, might as well get an elite rookie wide receiver. And if you don't think he's going to fall to you at 17, you might want to trade up to maybe 12.
Yeah.
If I'm a Cowboy fan, I'll be happy with that. Trade back a little bit, get an extra 3rd, 5th round pick.
Yeah. So Shedeur and Cam. Is there any other quarterback going in the first round?
Maybe, and I say maybe a Jalen Milroe in the aspect of potential. And I've mentioned this to and I believe the group message and also a couple other people, but Pittsburgh could be a very interesting option, even if they get Aaron Rodgers. Have him sit behind him for a year, or just he's gonna be a project, but he's one of those who has the intangibles, and you see like the highlights where it's like this guy can be something.
Yeah.
And out of everybody, he has a good arm. He can run. Like, might as well take a risk on it.
Ish.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're in the situation of your team being good enough to, good enough not to have great draft picks all the time, I feel like it's a little more precious and you don't want to trade back, right? Like, say what we do about Dallas, like, playoff problems, this and that. They usually will always win like 10 to 12 games. All right, they're usually good for at least a wild card, if not a division every few years. So, yeah, I don't know. So from that perspective, yeah, I would be like, hold on to like, the highest pick you're probably going to get for some time and see what you can get with it. But value's value, and you got a lot of gaps, Phil. So
yeah, I think there's about, gosh, there's so much talent defensive line wise and running back wise. I I'm not drafting. I'm not touching a quarterback until the second round if it's not Shador or Cam. Now, once the second round starts, I think there's gonna be like 4 quarterbacks picked in the second round, maybe early, and I think that the first one will be Jackson Dart. Jackson is insane.
Jackson Dart, dude.
Jackson can move, and I also really like McCord. Kyle?
McCord.
Solid. So, teams like Indiana, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, New York, both New Yorks, quarterback carousel. I mean, that could work. Honestly, looking at someone like Jacksonville, look, T-Law's doing his thing, but it's not working. It's not working. They have a chance to move on from T-Law, send them somewhere that can hoop, and then just start draft happy. I'm not sold on someone like Quinn Ewers. I'm definitely not sold on Will Howard. I think Dylan Gabriel will be a steal, but he's a left-handed quarterback. I like if Dylan Gabriel was right-handed, he would be a lot higher than a couple of those guys.
And it doesn't help that he's like 5'11" as well.
Yes, but I mean his intangibles in terms of seeing coverages, throwing the ball, though Dylan Gabriel's not a bad quarterback at all. It's just going to NFL, 6'7", offensive tackles, 360 pounds, can't see. And you're left-handed, so all the scheme has to be flipped. And that's just a lot, small frame. So Jalen Milroe is a great option, great look, but where, right? So which team is going to trade up for it? Which team is going to pick first? And it's kind of like which team will grab which quarterback. I don't think there's a needle mover in terms of him and Jackson Dart, maybe a little bit Jackson Dart and McCord. It's just which team needs a quarterback first.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, Pittsburgh would be the first team I think about when it comes to Jalen Milroe. Like just any quarterback, like they have DK and George Pickens. They're going to need even if they get an Aaron Rodgers, they know it's a 1 or 2 year rental at most.
But where is Pittsburgh on the line? Is Pittsburgh trying to win now?
They want to win now. They always want to win.
That's not Jalen Milroe. Milroe's a project.
But the thing what I'm saying with Jalen Milroe is especially get Aaron Rodgers, have Jalen Milroe be behind him for a year.
Yeah. That's a lot, though.
All right, boys. I'm gonna drop. This was fun. Matt, we gotta chop it up more often. Chat, go fuck yourself.
All right, my guy. Be safe.
See you, boys.
So, a couple more cutties. So, Joe Milton, is he better than all the quarterbacks right now in the draft?
I mean, when you talk about better, you have to look at all the little stuff like the accuracy, how his mental game is, how he can read the plays. That one I can't tell you, but when you just look at pure talent, he stands out more than anybody in this class. He can move. Can he move like Jalen Milroe? No. But no one has an arm like him. And he saw what he did in one game or a couple games without Drake May. Like, he showed some flashes, and we've seen that before, especially when it comes with some guy we heard of before named Patrick Mahomes. With one game, show flashes, and the next season, steps up. And so I'm more, and plus he's probably going to be a lot cheaper, because guess what? If I'm a team like Pittsburgh, instead of wanting to use a first-round pick to get a quarterback, like you mentioned, because you're trying to win, why don't I not try to call New York and just say
New England?
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I'm thinking about the Jets we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But call New England, just like, hey, you drafted this guy, and if I'm correct, the third round, maybe second. He's a couple years after. Well, how about just a regular second-round pick or a third and a fifth?
Yeah, that's a great point. And I wanna mention another quarterback that hasn't been mentioned on like anywhere I've seen. Hayden Hooker. Hayden Hooker is like rotting in Detroit. Those are both two stud Tennessee quarterbacks. I'm so surprised that no one has. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater went to go coach high school ball and then came back and started over him. So is there like some intangibles from the injury, the surgery, or like I thought there's no way that like those two guys coincidentally are just sitting around and being jumped over, Or is it something that we know how good he is, but y'all are asking too much in return for someone like Joe Milton or Hayden Hooker?
I mean, when we look at Hendon Hooker, the big thing that was talked about with him it was his age. Because he came to the NFL as a 25-year-old rookie. 25, 26. He was older. So he's not someone who's just going to get so much better. You've seen him.
Yep.
That's where I think the difference between him and Joe Milton is. Because Joe Milton is still young, whereas like you can see him get better. And Hendon Hooker, the thing I just heard him is because Jared Goff really popped off. He found himself again in Detroit, so that's what helped. Now, would I be interested in Hendon Hooker? Maybe, but that's if I know that hey, here's your one chance. He's in a Desmond Ritter situation. Here's your one chance to see if you can do the job. If not, we're drafting someone to replace you, or we're going to sign the next guy. Like he's a true bridge. While Joe Milton, he's someone that if I trade for, I'll give him a year or two.
Yeah.
Unless he's just horrible. I mean, absolutely horrible. That's the only situation. Now, Hendon Hooker will be a lot cheaper, obviously, but Joe Milton is not going to be like a first round pick. If anyone trades first round pick for him, then they got fleeced.
Yeah. So we talked about a couple of replacements in terms of quarterbacks, and we talked about drafts and all that. So let's kind of shift back to the NBA. Looking at how in a previous episode we discussed the superstar, the next up and comer, who's going to be in front of your magazine. You can't say Wemby. You can't say Ant. You can't say SGA. If there had to be someone in front of your magazine to prove for the next, who you got?
Like, if you're talking about the true face of the NBA, I've mentioned this on the show before that they just have a tough time trying to really push a European dude. Like, they just don't feel like they don't want to. So, if I'm thinking about the next magazine, you might just throw in Cooper Flag. Just like, be like, hey, when he comes in, we're going to really sponsor this kid. Especially depending on where he goes. Now, if you're looking just around the league and everything, of course, besides the old faces like LeBron and Steph Curry and them, you've still got the Devin Bookers. He's still young. He's not super old, but he's not also like gonna be a face.
It's a 10-15. Next 10-15.
I'm sorry, say oh, that's 10, 15 years. Thank you. Okay, I get what you're saying. I have to really think. Is who did you say? Like, while I'm having to think for a second, who did you say?
Well, I mentioned Zion, right? That he just needs to. I mean, he's under. I mean, in time that he's played, minutes of opportunity, he's the most doubled player in history. Mm-hmm. So looking at somebody like him or Ja or Paulo, I mean, there is several names that I feel like over SGA. I mean, they were saying SGA's ceiling is a maybe James Harden. James Harden was never the face of the NBA. You know what I mean? Jason, like I feel like the argument was SGA was like an aura type thing, but his problem was free throws. Anthony Edwards was he doesn't have a problem speaking in front of a mic his true self and being his true self, but he's a little inconsistent on the court. And Wemby's thing was he's younger than everybody, and he has 7'5" wingspan and can do all these intangibles that probably none of them will ever be able to do. But his injury history, will he be able to stay healthy long enough, and will his body be able to hold up long enough to have such a long career? Obviously, Ja's issue is off the court. And now that he's been back, he looks a little weird. Something's just off about his step. Zion's issue is clearly staying on the court, and maybe that will change with him getting a new change of scenery, right? And someone like Paulo, there was really no problem or no shame in his game, except for when he had a freak bicep injury. I think Paulo's better than Jason Tatum right now. I mean, that's a crazy statement. But this dude is averaging like 29, 7, and 8. Yeah. With the most crowded court in the league statistically. So, I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I think it'll be Paulo, Zion, or Ja. If I had to pick one, it'd be Paulo.
Yeah. Like, after you mentioned Zion, the first thing that actually came to my head was Ja. Because, of course, they did try pushing him before all the off the field issues. Now, a couple I wanted to kind of talk about just is they're more underrated and they're realistically, will they be the face of the NBA? No,
Mhm.
because of how much talent there is, and also depends on the situation. Maybe one of them at least if they switches teams in the future, they get better, then maybe.
Mhm.
But Tyrese Maxey,
Mm.
very young, doing a lot of work, making the 76ers a little relevant with all this BS going around them.
Yeah.
And then also like Donovan Mitchell. Just his ability, like look what he's done with Cleveland. Like he is leading them real well. If they can get a deep playoff run and maybe even a finals run, like it'll raise his stock because we at one point we're talking about him in a very high manner. Now he's kind of just because he's in Cleveland, kind of goes underneath the rug,
Oh yeah.
and it just throw one more name out. Just he's always up there and just get the team really young team, but potentially a Trey Young or if he gets traded.
The Trae Young thing is how can I describe that? I tried to pull another player off the top of my mind from a different sport. I can't explain it. Let me think. What can I compare Trae Young to? Trae Young will always have good stats because the system has to be played that way or he will suffer tremendously. In saying that, he will always have great stats in the system that he plays in, but that system will never win. Does that make sense? I'm trying to think of a player that fits the bill. Josh Allen? I don't know. I mean, no, maybe not Josh Allen, but like
Josh Allen is a little too.
Yeah. Maybe
Maybe
Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, that's a great example. Joe Flacco needs to play in a 2 running back under center offense. And in that offense, he can play. Oh, no, he has a Super Bowl. Dude, I don't know this way to. Dakota, maybe. But Dakota doesn't have the numbers. I mean, Trae Young leads assists every single year, if not his second. And he still puts up 25. He still hits 3 to 5 3-pointers average a season, a game. And it's like he's shooting almost 38% clip, if not higher, at 3-pointer. He plays good basketball. But the problem is he plays good basketball because it's part of that system. Right? Like James Harden. Now I'm not gonna say he has bang as James Harden.
MVP, yeah.
Right. But that's the problem with Trae Young. I don't think no matter where he goes, he is a liability on defense. Like he
here's a fun name for you. Just like we have to see how his whole career turns out, but maybe a Phillip Rivers.
Yes.
Sneaky under the radar because great stats every single year, but everybody else's name is being thrown around above his.
Yes, and think about Phillip Rivers, the same as Trae Young. He had his rivals, and he always sold tickets. Trae Young sells tickets, dude. He does. He gets people there to watch the games, but it's like you don't expect a championship out of him. You just don't. You might expect a playoffs first round. Oh, they're going against the Knicks. Oh, they're going against the Steelers. Oh, you know what I mean? It's cute, but at the end of the day, you know what's going to happen. You don't expect greatness as a championship out of him. Yeah.
Or then another player, if you think about it, Damian Lillard.
Speaking of Damian Lillard, that's good. That's real good. I like that take with Damian Lillard. Career-wise, if Steph Curry never existed on the planet, and I'm gonna bring this up with more people. If Steph Curry never existed on the planet, because he dropped his 4,000 3-pointer. His birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, Steph. Is Dame arguably the best shooter ever?
He makes an argument, no doubt. Just his argument is going to be where he could shoot from.
Okay.
Now, is he just the absolute most efficient? You could go with maybe a Clay. You could maybe go with a Ray Allen, something around there. When it comes to just pure shooting, like on the line, but it's the same thing with Steph. And you're saying without Steph, him and Steph are the only players that you truly have to guard when they cross half court. Maybe Trae Young, like we just talked about, but when it comes to their gravities, it's just different levels.
Someone in the comments said the point guard from the Knicks is about the same as T. Young. Jalen Brunson. That is a great point. He has to be in a system. You look at Villanova, you look at Dallas, you look at where he plays and how much time he plays. He has to be in a particular system in order for his success to play the most. Now, that could be left-handed problem. That could be his size. That could be, the foul baiting. I don't know. But that's a great comparison. Jalen Brunson as well has to be in a system to success, and he'll probably never win as well. Another person in the comments, same person in the comments says, nope, Ray Allen or Reggie Miller. That's the greatest shooter ever. Interesting. What y'all think? What you think?
I mean, I'm going to go with like me just growing up and everything, actually seeing it, but Ray Allen personally, he originally broke the all-time three-point record over Reggie Miller's. But of course, that's absolutely just different eras. Now, if you're talking about player-wise, I can make an argument about Reggie Miller being a better player.
Yep.
When we talk about shooter, where that's where all Ray Allen's job has been, besides, of course, his time in Seattle.
Yep.
But look at Boston. He hit some big-time threes to help them get to that championship. And he was the glue. Like, you don't need a Paul Pierce. He obviously helped.
Yep.
But you don't need a Paul Pierce, and they're going to still be a good team.
The same in Miami.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, look at Miami. Absolutely. Like, we talked about on one of the episodes how he saved LeBron's legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Because of one of the clutchest three-point shots of all time. And it's just, he's just, when you think of pure three-point shooting, you think of him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, better player, I will say Reggie Miller, but pure three-point shooting is, I think, Ray Allen.
Yeah, Jesus Shuttlesworth, Mr. Ray Allen, is a phenomenal sniper. And I feel like there's a difference between being a sniper and a shooter. Like, look, man, a shooter can pull out a pistol, can pull out a shotgun, AR, sniper, and still ping, 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 his target. Jesus Shuttlesworth in Milwaukee, he was a shooter. But Ray Allen is like the greatest sniper to ever hold it. Do you see what I'm saying?
By the way, I don't know why I said Seattle. I meant Milwaukee. Thank you for clarifying.
I got you. So, yeah, it's confusing because of the colors back then, Seattle Supersonics. But, like, yeah, so, like, looking at that, I can't put him as the greatest shooter ever, man. Look, I'm looking at Dame pull up from 38. Bro, what? That is crazy. And he's doing it on a 37% clip. If you're going over percentage over attempts, great. Ray Allen's got it. No, someone in the corner other than Iguodala, shout out Derek, Iguodala, laser beam on the planet. Ray Allen's got it. But court totality, there's no way. There's just no way.
No.
Reggie Miller, for sure, he has the famous fade three to the side, boom, boom, boom. Great. In terms of shooting, I think he slightly shoots better than Ray Allen. Sniper, Ray Allen's got him. But in totality, I think Dame is better than both of them compared to putting the ball on the basketball court as well as catch and shoot in totality. If I was building a team and I needed a sniper, it's Ray Allen. If I was building a team and I needed a shooter, it would be Dame. You know what I'm saying? Or Reggie. I think so. That's my opinion.
The kind of go with what you said is if I needed just someone just be the most dangerous person on the court with the ball in their hands, or sometimes even I say with the ball in their hands, the most dangerous person on the court, Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
On a catch and shoot off the screen, just wide open, whatever the case is, Ray Allen.
Yeah.
And then including the mid range, I would probably throw in Reggie Miller.
Absolutely, I agree. So I guess we'll do one more, and then we'll get out of here. You got time for one more?
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, time for 20.
Let's see what we got here. Kind of want to save that one. Let's do updated MVPs. What you think? Updated NBA standings. What do you think? So we got Denver going up, Houston going up, Memphis going up then down. Oh, my comment said Ray did play for the Supersonics. So
I was
boom.
right about that. Okay, cool. I couldn't remember. It's like I wasn't really like aware of that time period.
Yeah. So that was that shout out Pops. That time period was when he had the low top fade when it was in a movie with Denzel.
Mm-hmm.
So Denver went up to 2. Houston climbed and jumped, and now it's at 3. Memphis is at 4, and we're gonna roll the clip eventually. Not today, but when I figure out how to do that, we're gonna be able to roll clips. And so the Lakers are now at 5. Ooh wee ooh wee ooh. Them boys been dropping. Hold on now. Now in the East, we got Cleveland, Boston, New York, Milwaukee, Indiana, Detroit. And that right there is the 6 and 6. Oh, Golden State 6 in the West. You got any takes on that? Oh, comment says he was there after the Bucks. Bucks, Supersonics, Celtics, Heat.
Okay. But I mean, we're just getting closer to playoff season, so we're starting to see these teams get more into the style that they're going to. Ooh, Draymond Green just airballed a bad 3. But we're, like right now, just watching this Knicks and Warriors game, that the Knicks defense is doing a really good job. The Warriors defense is getting a lot of pressure and everything, but dude, I'm not seeing nothing from them specifically about like that's just outstanding. You see the Knicks are 3rd in the East.
Yeah.
But a team like Denver, they're going to be one of those teams that's going to be real scary, especially when it comes to just one the people who are on the roster: Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, who have the championship pedigree. They know what it takes to win the championship, so they're going to be for sure make adjustments and everything. Russell Westbrook, we can talk about him all we want and make jokes with him, but he has experience. He is a very smart player, so he's going to figure out what to do in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they're going to be someone who's very dangerous. Now, mine still from this day is still pick is going to be Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
They are from our first episode we had. I said that they're the most dangerous and probably the favorites for the championship. I still think that. We saw that on the past week they've beaten Boston. They're just still looking good, even though people still say they're a free throw merchant, which fun fact, they're not even the top 20 when it comes to free throw attempts per game. It's just one player, but people want to bring it up. But they're still the team to beat. While Denver, I think, is going to be the most underrated. And another very underrated one that's not going to be the first seed in the East, but Milwaukee. If they finish 3 or 4, they're going to have a decent road. If they could just stay hot and get to the Eastern Conference Finals and just get Giannis and Dame just to get hot, that's real scary for Boston. No matter how much talent they got, if they get the two scariest players when they're hot going, that's a dangerous team.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a good point you mentioned with the free throws. And I want to read something that I found. It said, out of all the players with 300 plus drives, 105 qualifiers, 14 draw fouls at a rate of 10% or higher. Only 14. Okay? You wouldn't believe who was number 1 or number 2 or number 3. None of them is Mr. SGA. SGA is number 20 on the list.
Is one of them like James Harden?
Nope. So the funny part about SGA, he is number 20, but the reason why he's at the free throw line more is because he drives more than anyone else, 20.2 drives per game. Now, in terms of statistic measure, I'll read it again. 300 drives, only 14 draw foul at 10% and higher. Number 3 is Giannis at 12.9%.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is Karl Anthony Towns, 14.5%. Number 1 is Paulo at 17.8%. So you take that into consideration. You know, it's not the fact that SGA is getting these calls and calls and calls and calls. Remember, going to the basket, not the step side at the block, but to the basket. It's that he drives so much. So, yeah, first of all, great take with the OKC thing, but this is what I'll tell you that you're wrong. It's the matchups. Russell Westbrook will retire with no rings. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's gonna retire. The way this is unfolding right now, Minnesota and Golden State are tied, and the way it's looking, one of those teams, if not both of those teams, is gonna be a playoff team, and that's crazy because the Clippers have dropped, the Lakers are right there, and you're telling me that Minnesota and the Warriors could be playing teams? Absolutely. I think Houston can beat any team right now. I do. Healthy, Houston can beat any team. Memphis can beat any team. Denver can beat any team. OKC can beat any team, specifically in the West. I don't think the Lakers can beat any team. I don't think the Warriors can beat any team. I don't think the Clippers can beat any team. But matchup wise, someone like Sacramento, someone like Golden State could send OKC home first round. You know what I'm saying? So, go ahead.
I can't see Sacramento. Just, I guess it's still with me that yes, they're a good team. Yes, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine are good players. Demontis Sabonis is great.
Okay.
I still struggle with the fact that how I still see the Bulls when I see.
You see the Bulls with
LaVine,
Sabonis. It's the Bulls with
Yeah, I know.
Sabonis.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying like how you just mentioned with Russell Westbrook not going to win a ring. I can't see DeMar DeRozan winning a ring with his play style.
Yeah. So we're looking at Sacramento Kings on a 4-game losing streak. And before that 4 games, they were sitting at 7, almost 8. Now they're a game above the Dallas Mavericks, which is a game and a half above the Suns. If the Suns can find a way in, find a way playing a home game and a play-in, you want to play the Suns first round if you're OKC? I don't think so.
No, they're just like I mentioned with Milwaukee. You got that like with Damian Lillard and Giannis. If they get hot, they're dangerous. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, they're exact same thing. Forget about everyone else on the roster. That's what hurts them. You got these 2 players that get each drop 40.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter who you are, they'll make it competitive.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I'm still looking inside the top 12 teams, the 6 and 6 on both sides, and it's still only now it's the Pacers as well. Pacers, Milwaukee, and the Los Angeles Lakers have an under 500 away win percentage. Lakers 4-loss streak, and that is the second biggest in the NBA, third biggest in the NBA. All right. Out of competitive teams, that's the second biggest in the NBA, behind the Miami Heat.
What was the other one? Washington or something?
Oh man, the Utah Jazz got like 8-game losing streak, man, and then Portland, but neither of them are in the race, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there anything you want to comment about the Lakers before we cut it up? Obviously, this might be something that's brought up again tomorrow with more people, but anything you want to say today?
I mean, I think we kind of hit the nail on the head, especially with you, Cam, and everyone. We were talking about what is the significance with LeBron's injury. Y'all brought up that Solomon brought up the schedule when it came to Lakers, and everyone kind of had the same thought while our eyes are widening. Like, this is going to get interesting. It's not very dangerous for the Lakers. And from our first episode, we had Ish and Cam talking about how the Lakers are the favorites in the playoffs. And I was trying to say they're still they're great. Yeah, Luke and LeBron, awesome. But there's a difference between being good and being great. The Lakers are right here. Everyone like the Cavs, the Celtics, Milwaukee,
Nuggets,
Oklahoma
OKC.
City, Denver. Yeah, they're all up here. We said this before, especially when the trade happened a while back, that they're still pieces away. Like, I don't know exactly what the situation with the whole Mark Williams, besides the failed physical, like what specifically was it about.
Yep.
But you could tell that if there would be a different team if they had him, failed physical or not. It's just overall, we kind of saw it coming. At the same time, like, is there going to be a point that the Lakers are going to start trying to actually turn it around and just give a fight? Because if they get to that play-in, I can't guarantee that they're going to win the play-in game, depending on who they go against.
Yeah, so the Lakers' biggest problem right now is defensive rim protection and the ability to stop a nosebleed. And let's talk about three teams and playoff teams. The play-in teams, possibly the Clippers, which has Zubac in the gang. The possible Kings, which has Sabonis in the gang,
Yeah,
and
Sabonis will kill him.
and let the Mavs be petty and go say, "Hey, Lively, AD, and the gang suit up the play." Dude, what? That
I
would be
think AD's
crazy,
officially out for the season.
huh?
I think AD was officially out for the season.
Well, that would still be that. Well, that's okay. I don't think AD. I'll save that for tomorrow, but I will comment right now. I don't think AD plays another game in Dallas, but
I'm surprised.
yeah, I mean, him and Paul George probably will be on the move this summer.
Can I bring up one thing? Like, just
Go ahead.
that's kind of insane. Like, just we talk about AD, Luca, and all that. Can we talk about Quentin Grimes? Well, I thought was one of the worst moves we made because, like, okay, Luca, AD, I understand. You heard my thoughts about that plenty of times. I hated that. The one that never made sense to me is Caleb Martin for Quentin Grimes, a guy we got this off season, and now he's in Philadelphia averaging over 20 a game.
Yeah.
Well, I saw Caleb Martin's averaging 2.9 points for us.
Mm.
So I just want to throw that out there. Just like, it's a sad time to be a Mavs fan.
Oh no, man! It is what it is. That's kind of how the cookie crumbles. I'll give you 4 minutes to talk about whatever you want to talk about, and then we'll get out of here.
4 minutes, that's a lot.
You can cut it at less.
Yeah, I got you. Of course, I'm just excited for the whole draft coming up. This is going to be a very interesting class because there's a lot of big names when you hear the top of the class. And you got a good amount of underrated guys. Like, I can't wait for us to be able to plan out a draft episode because we're going to, of course, we can't do how we do it sometimes. We're like, okay, this is what we're just going to talk about today. We need, for me at least, I want to know ahead of time so I can plan stuff, stats, and all that. But, and even maybe even a mock draft for the podcast. But some underrated people out there, like I've mentioned the name before about Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State. A year ago, he was the number one running back, and people still had doubts of him. Like, no, Ashton Genty, obviously.
Yeah.
But don't let one bad year because of a lackluster team. It's not like Ollie was just the only bad thing. No, the whole Oklahoma State was rough and had struggles, including their offensive line and everything. And it doesn't help when you had a quarterback for the 20th college football season that still sucks. So, the people just loaded the box, so he's going to be interesting. The San Jose State wide receiver, I believe it was, who I think I personally thought he should have got the receiving. I forgot the award on top of my head, but the college football best receiver award.
Mm.
I personally thought it should have been him. I don't care about talent, whatever the case is that they had to go against, but he won the Triple Crown in college football. He's going to be an interesting cat, and right now his stock is like a 4th, 5th round pick.
Yeah.
So he's going to be a good steal, for sure, especially to be in the slot. So those are going to be exciting. You mentioned about the draft class, how it's a deep defensive and running back class. So that's going to be fun. Another thing that's going to be big is going to be when June 1st hits, see some of these guys who are going to get released on the June 1st cuts from the teams. We've mentioned, well, not mentioned, but we've seen some names such as Darius Slay, James Bradbury. There's a few different guys out there that are going to be some big impact players. So we're not done with just free agency.
Right.
Because there are going to be some big names that's going to, I won't say be a huge needle mover, but are going to be impact. There will be people who are championship contenders are going to look at. Right now, this Warriors-Knicks game is going really well. Just Steph Curry's getting a jump ball situation, I believe. I have it on mute, so I can't really tell, but he's struggling tonight. He's still Steph, but he's like Jimmy Butler's been real big for them for tonight, and then Moses Moody had some big plays. So I'll go ahead and sacrifice the rest of my time because at this point I'm just blabbing.
I appreciate your time, and I will have a little conversation myself. I'll start off with I don't know what's going on with Golden State. I feel like I really can't figure out if they're a competitive team or they're just hot in the right moments. It's a weird bunch, and they play really smooth. But at the same time, they play very chaotic, and they can just scramble well. I feel like you need both of those things to win successfully in the playoffs. Speaking of playoffs, I saw something the other day, and it just threw my mind upside down. I would like to bring this back up. Nobody in the NBA has faced a tougher competitive stance in the playoffs than James Harden. In 2010, the Lakers, who wound up being a champion. 2011, the Mavs, champion. The 12, Miami Heat, super team, champions. 2013, 61 Thunder. 2015, the Warriors. 2016, the Warriors, 73 win team. The 2017, the 61 win Spurs. 2018, the KD Warriors. The 2019, the KD Warriors. 2020, the Bubble Lakers, who wound up winning. The 2021 was the again Bucks champions. Like, be serious. So that's number one. If you can, anyone out there, when we clip this video and put it in, you find anyone in NBA history who has faced a harder bunch of playoff matchups, give me a call. So now,
Yeah, one. That's actually real good.
yeah. So number two, the most playoff wins since 2000. The Eagles have more playoff wins since 2000 than the rest of them combined. The Giants, the Cowboys have 4 since 2000. The Commanders have 3 since 2000.
I mean, the only teams that I can really think that can compete.
The Giants have 11.
Honestly,
11 plus 4
who is
plus
this?
3 is still less than the Eagles, who have 20 playoff wins since 2000. And here's another fun fact. New England, Philadelphia, KC, Baltimore, Green Bay, Steelers, 49ers, Seahawks, Colts, Giants, Rams, Saints, Bucks. Those are the top 13. There's only one of them that has 0 rings. I'm going to say it again. New England, Eagles, KC, the Ravens, Packers, Steelers, 49ers, Seahawks, Colts, New York, Rams, Saints, Bucks. There's only one team, and they have 14 playoff wins. They're the only one out of the top 13 that has no rings. And it's the 49ers.
49ers.
Man, oh man, that's an embarrassing franchise. Now, my last thing that I want to just say, other than like, what are you doing 49ers? I'm glad you took that earlier. John Jones right now has more defenses than the rest, every other division's male champion combined in terms of defenses. That is embarrassing. The UFC is in an all right shambles. There is something seriously going on. I think it has to do with the money. Because people coming from certain parts of the world, that money, that little check they sign makes a big difference. But here, people don't want to go to UFC and still be a firefighter. You look at Miocic, he was still a firefighter and a champion. You know, people in boxing, that's a whole time or a whole different segment that I've kind of talked about before. But they are making ways to get these guys paid, and UFC is just not doing that. The one is trying to do it. PFC is trying to do it. What's his name? Perry, his little league, Dirty Boxing, is trying to do it. There's no reason why that should be competitively the exact same as UFC. That's embarrassing and it's a disgrace. Do better. Matt, anything you want to say?
I mean, just when you bring up the UFC and everything, I think, like, for someone like me, when it comes to being like a casual, I enjoy watching fights. Just just being a guy watching a fight and everything, and just sometimes it's just fun. But it's hard to just get the understanding. Like when you heard the Conor McGregor's, and of course John Jones, everyone knows him, and just some of these old like people who just love fighting. Like you got to be more interested about it, but now you got some people that you hear about maybe a couple times a year. So it's not someone you could just keep up with.
Yep.
And then for someone like me, I don't for sure buy all the pay-per-views and everything. I try to either watch the highlights or if I'm able to have time to find a stream site to watch it. But so it's also accessibility is very difficult as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah, man. I mean, Mets streams got shut down. Let's be honest. I'm not paying $80, $90, $100 to watch people hug against the cage. I'm not saying that jujitsu and sambo and American wrestling and judo and those things are not bad arts, and combining them to create a super art as in mixed martial arts is not a problem. But I'm watching guys who are champions fight twice a year. When a champion like Inoue in boxing, when a champion like Figueroa, who used to be like God of War, those guys fought 4 times a year. Why? It's not a UFC only thing. The problem is with UFC you're letting these guys train year round to fight twice a year and watching them hug for that is horrible for the game. They complain so much about Matt Nunes. They complain so much about Usman. They complain so much about these fighters. And now where are they? Your women's divisions are completely torn apart. Your men's divisions are completely torn apart. There is a big chunk of fighters who are afraid to fight each other and drop to the bottom of the rankings. And you have a champion and a bunch of who's. It's more entertaining to watch the prelims and watch the actual card. That's embarrassing.
I mean, you think about it. It hasn't even it's been a long time. Don't get me wrong, but it's been however many years since boxers used to have however many fights a year. Like you've seen records of 100 fights.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing even Floyd Mayweather, someone like him, everyone talks about, oh, he tried to dodge some fights, whatever the case is. He still had 50 professional fights in his career.
Yeah, you look at Floyd and he had to play within a certain parameter. He liked his ring size, he liked his glove size, but smoke was never ducked. The Pacquiao thing was not full Floyd. He fought. I mean, you look at the tether of the names, and it was something else. We're talking GOAT talk. We're talking GOAT debate with boxing, and Floyd is in every single conversation, every one of them.
I mean,
but then you look at the GOAT talk in UFC. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say when it comes to, I still remember one time I forgot what show he was on, but he was talking about when he talked about the greatest of all time for boxing, and he threw himself at number one. I'm like, you can't say no to it.
That's my GOAT.
You can. Yeah,
that's my GOAT. Pound for pound.
The whole point of one, yeah, the whole point of boxing. Sorry, you want him to have 50 KOs, but the whole point of boxing is to hit somebody and avoid being hit, and I don't see no one who does it better.
Yeah, the thing is, let's compare him to Barry Bonds, who I think is the best baseball player to ever play. Barry Bonds had 2 Hall of Fame careers. You can say 3 if you talk about PEDs. Dude, he had a whole different game plan in Pittsburgh than he did in San Francisco, and he still did it. Pretty Boy Floyd was a hands-on, in-your-face type of guy. Jab for a walk for a move. And then he broke his hand a couple billion times, tore his shoulder apart. His dad said, hey, you're going to end up like me with 1 loss, and it's going to throw your career away. What do you want to do? He retires, comes back a year later, 2 years later, and now Money Mayweather. And he created this algorithm that no one could ever break. You can argue this fight or that fight, but no one ever broke it. And the only time I ever seen him fought when he went on the canvas when he broke his hand off someone's face. I mean, you look at the GOAT debate in UFC, and it's all over the place. You try to mention 5. John Jones.
I still have to deal with John Jones. He's my GOAT.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. John Jones. GSP. Well, Khabib. Well, it's a problem with each one of them. And I mean GSP sure, but Khabib. I love Khabib. I love it. I love his. Damn. I love everything about him. He's awesome. Demeanor, his approach, the way he fights, all of it. But dude. What? I mean, he Andrew Lucked the UFC. And morally speaking, I get it. But, unless he's going heel and he's going to come back and beat Islam, which isn't going to happen. He's not going to go fight him. But he handicapped that. He chokeholded Conor McGregor. Floyd and Khabib killed Conor McGregor. He killed that steam train who was trying to carry the UFC. So, you had baseball who went through that same era where it was like, we need the juice, we need the McGuires, we need the Sammy Sosas, we need the bad guys. So until Kenny Griffey and the gang got there, and that was Connor's time, and there just wasn't enough help. Ronda Rousey, there wasn't enough help, and now look at the results. You know.
Yeah, there's just not that many characters that you see anymore. Like, not. I'll say it's not mainstream. That's where the issue comes in, is making it mainstream.
The thing, yeah, I agree. The thing that when you go inside of a pantry, when you go inside of someone's home and you can go inside of a pantry and you're trying to cook a dish, you don't want to see salt and pepper. You don't want to see sugar and salt. You want to see colors. You want to be able to express yourself in every realm. If my options are Dagestan Sambo or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that is not enough flavor in the game. And unfortunately, they're dominating so heavily that there's not really nothing that can beat them. Great. So, I feel like that's the reason why Dana's bailed. Dana has bailed. He's invested into this boxing thing with the Dagestan, like the Arab people. I hate to say it that way. I'm sorry. Don't cancel me. But that people over there in Dubai, because that's what people want to see. And it's not to be funny, but I mean, that's one thing that I will say Floyd ruined for everybody. Nobody wants to lose anymore. They saw Floyd do it, the first player in any sport, in any kind, to never lose on a professional record, and now everyone wants to do it. And you look at Gervonta Davis, you look at Ryan Garcia, you look at Devin Haney, you look at Canelo, you look at X, Y, and Z in the third, and they're perfectly fine after. You look at someone like Chocolatito, who, y'all look him up. Chocolatito, phenomenal boxer. That dude fought 5 times a year. And I swear he had CTE. His eyeball was hanging outside his face. At the same time, you can never touch him. He lost one time. It ruined his career. He went down the drain. Lomachenko. Go ahead, Matt. Go.
No, I was just going to kind of add to your point and everything. I think when we look at it, it's not specifically just the athletes, but it's just the fans. We're looking for the next GOAT. Mm-hmm. That's where it comes down to. That's like, look at Patrick Mahomes, mm-hmm. and like for the football fans to kind of understand, it was Tom Brady. It's always been Tom Brady for how long? And then Patrick Mahomes, you hear the rumors like, oh, what if he wins one more? And then he lost, and everyone's laughing like, he'll never be Tom Brady now. There's no way. Yep. Although Tom Brady, he's lost 2 Super Bowls, yep. as well. And he actually lost more than that. So it's just one of those, like, people are looking for the next GOAT, and when someone loses, like, the whole thing that, like, what makes LeBron so great? Because when he does win, it's awesome. What makes Steph so great? Because when he lost, he came back and won. Like, it's the same thing, like, we're just going to eventually have to get to a point where it's like the Michael Jordan talk, where it came from, oh, what is more important, actual career accolades and statistics and impact to a team, or being 6 for 6 in the finals?
Yep.
So I think when boxing and MMA fans kind of get over that hump, and especially the athletes themselves, like, you know what? If I lose, that's fine. Now let me do something that they won't forget. Like, let me forget that I lost. Let me look at John Jones. He has a loss on his record, although it was disqualification. I still don't think it should have been.
Yep.
But his career was just fine without it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, my last thing I'll say, like, someone like Sean O'Malley, dude, it broke my heart. I watched him from Ultimate Fighter. I'll talk about before he dyed his hair, before the tattoos. I was a fan of this guy, and Irish blood. That's just bias. Something special about him, and if you ever see this video, Sean O'Malley, Sugar Sean, please just get back out there, bro. Look, you might not ever be able to defeat him, and that's okay. But like please don't go. I know you had an injury when you went away the first time. And I'm on UFC app and I'm seeing you doing slap jitsu tournaments across the world, and that's cool and all. But like, this is where you're home. This is you. Come back and save the UFC. Just because you lost does not mean you can't still be the face. You can. There's so much for you here. I feel like there's not many Max Holloways left that can still do something. you know. And honestly, if the domino falls between Pereira and Aspinall, that's going to destroy 30 pounds of the UFC because both of them are this untouchable figure right now. And it's great and it's cool, but the gap is so big. Sean, please come back. Max Holloway, please don't leave. There are so many gaps that needs to be filled right now, and you guys are the only people that can do it. Um, that's all I got right now, man.
I think what I'm hoping for is there's going to be just a next generation of UFC athletes, or even I can't really say boxing because, like you mentioned, I can't remember everyone's names, but you mentioned like Javante Davis and some of them. Like you're still young, but especially with UFC because a lot of the guys are getting older. That there's going to have to be a new generation to come in, and hopefully some of those cats will just be like, wow, just like. And look at what MMA was when it first started, like specifically with UFC, to not where it is now. It went from being like one fight style type of thing with like you mentioned, like it would be like jiu-jitsu versus Muay Thai, and then now you got someone who has multiple backgrounds,
Yep.
and eventually we're going to get someone who's like the avatar, who's going to have everything just combined.
Yep.
So
So
that's
Wimby.
hopefully, yeah, Wimby.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll, or even the Shohei Otani.
Yeah. I
And then
mean, like,
hopefully,
man, like you're totally right. And like, dude, that UFC 300, that low key was not that good. It was cool. The UFC 200, same thing. Yeah, maybe 200 was better than 300 for me, but you look at right now, if you go look, you just type in who's boxing on the Cinco de Mayo weekend. Literally, 8 out of the top 10 pound for pound is boxing. And they're fighting against people who could take their spot, except for the Ryan Garcia one. But like, are you kidding me? Do you know how good that every 10-ish years it's gonna do this? Okay, it's gonna happen. UFC's time, boxing time. UFC time, boxing time. And I feel like right now is that shift of heads, and I'm hoping that UFC can figure something out to keep themselves relevant because right now it's not looking so. Final take. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I think the advantage of boxing specifically is just they can get more characters. Like you would imagine, like UFC has more nut jobs. Like you would imagine that, but boxing has just more cocky characters that, like, it's never going to be like it again. As I can't see it, like Muhammad Ali's and everything. Just people who can just talk and like most people only know Muhammad Ali for what he said on the mic. Like these days, no one actually knows how he fought. Maybe a couple clips or stuff like that, but now you got some people who do talk and everything. Like Floyd, that's what he was amazing at, was talk. Yeah, McGregor, that's when UFC was like probably at its most high when it came to like net total. But it's just you got people like yourself, me. Like I said, I'm more of a casual, but watch it for because I do enjoy the fighting styles. It's just it's harder to be able to watch it. Is the only difficult thing with it for me. But for the mainstream media, the issue is just how can they get entertained? They don't want to just watch a fight. They want to watch like that's like this is just gonna be off topic one, but like if you're like a wrestling nerd, you look at WWE and AEW. When you watch AEW, the wrestling in it is a lot more exciting than WWE sometimes. WWE is still great, don't get me wrong. But AEW, there's times where they put on 5-star matches, it's just amazing. But the storytelling in WWE, that's what people watch. That's why ESPN is retweeting and doing all this stuff about John Cena's heel turn. It's not because of the fighting. It's because of the stuff that people who might not watch it can get along with. Like again, people never watched. Like there's some people who never watched the Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz fight, but people have watched those interviews against each other, especially on SportsCenter. So it's just we just need more characters. I think boxing will have more characters, which gives them the advantage in the future.
Well, two things, and then we'll close off. First thing, I agree with everything you said. The problem with the AEW, WWE, TNA Impact, ECW, those are all separate networks. And you know who doesn't want to agree with separate networks? The UFC. The one, all those different type of companies, they don't want to combine like boxing has. Boxing has Showtime. Boxing has HBO. Boxing has Top Rank. Boxing has the new one that just came out and PBC. Like those are all separate companies that come together to form unifications. You understand? So second thing, people that come from these other divisions are getting waxed. Like Kai something. Kiru, that dude got washed. And he was like 5-time champion, 2-time 2-belt, in this other place, and got his face broke when he came to UFC. Because what they do? They rushed him. They didn't put him against a couple other fights. They put him against Pentejo first. You know what I'm talking about, the Brazilian, the little short dude with the panda face. First match, and got his face squeezed. So I mean, that's probably gonna be the big issue there. Kamikaze at this point, call it a day. If you're not gonna do a total change, then figure out a way for incentives to get people out there to fight, because there's not that many Kevin Hollands that just don't care about their record and just want to box, you know. And nobody wants to fight Shemev. And Shemev is the perfect person for people to see a different side of UFC. Kamsat, are you kidding me? People, you know how many kids will go psychopaths seeing that and want to go train and want to go learn that, but people are scared to fight them. And the person who signs up gets their face broke. Look at what happened to the Australian that fought Izzy like 18 billion times. What's his name? I'm not thinking of his name right now. Maybe I can Google it really fast. But look at him. And I mean, he literally got his teeth pushed to the back of his throat from a dirty choke against Kamsat. So you take that into consideration. If I can find it really fast. And then we can wrap up. Let me see. Kamsat. We fight last. It's gonna slap me in the face. It was Australian. Oh, Robert Whittaker. Yeah, Robert Whittaker. 308. That's 308.
So I didn't realize he was Australian.
Yeah, Robert Whittaker's Australian. Yeah, and him and Izzy are hanging out now. They're friends after 10 years of being who's the biggest baddest Aussie. So
I think the other thing that hurts like UFC and boxing is just you hear the fights and how much they hate each other, and afterwards it's just all the hugging and then the hang out. It's got it's all for markets, but
sometimes
it's just those things like sometimes, but when it's real, that's where it gets really exciting and fun.
Yeah. But yeah, with that, we're going to close off, man. Thank you all for staying and watching us and watching me and Matt ramble a little bit. Matt, I always appreciate having you on here, man. Hopefully, you got some good sense on you and some good words. So I want to get you debating against some guys. But it's hard, man. It's we're all adults and, trying to match schedules and, it just is what it is.
I'll make sure to go to my Skip Bayless delusional phase.
I appreciate you. Well, yeah, so GT Radio, episode 5, signing up, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.